going to become champions of 67. And then he's a wordsman. The first game in the thousands. You see they're going to become champions. Celtic way, wait for the ball from side to side, and until they try to hide, the wait for the ball from front to back, attack! Good evening everybody, welcome to Celtic Rumours TV, episode number 221 of the Bawz and Bovril podcast with myself, Mark. Tonight we've got two Irishmen ways, we're wee angry Irishmen. Yeah. How you doing, Terns?
How are we going, boys?
How you? You've got not too angry after the day's news, right enough, are you?
No, I'm delighted after today's news, thank God.
And back ways again, Paul. How you doing, Paul? Where is he?
Good.
Oh, there he's there. Nice to have you back on,
John
Paul.
Barnes is fucking delighted.
That sounded in it the worst. I mean, Martin O'Neill had a better record than him in less days, wasn't it? But that's I just tapped a bit edgy there, right enough. Anyway, this is a podcast for forum at www.CelticRumoursTV.co.uk. You can find a link to everything in the description box below, to the Discord, the forum, and everything like that. A few shout outs to some of the lads off the forum. Paul's actually here, so is Terns, Mad Dog McGinn, Jerry McGinn, Big Campsy as well, I don't know where he is, JFP, he's actually on Fortaventura with his missus, so it's alright for some, who was sitting there and sunning it. I think we're sitting at -6 or something in Fairhalden now, it's Baltic outside, what's it like out there, Ter?
Freezing.
Oof. You the same, Paul?
Yeah, it's freezing out here, like, but not that bad. Like, Christ, when you're in Poland, it's -12 over there. Like, this is a fucking heat wave to me. Like, you know.
Mikey, we John United Ireland, Big Jabber, Welshie, Malika, Deef Kev, TB as well for the Discord group. See who we've got in. Bobby would have been in first. Evening, Bobby. D-Doc, nice to see you, mate. Grot Bags. There's TB there. McMullen, nice to see you again, mate. Flip-flop, Cameron. Gaddafi, 566, nice to see you, mate. Oh, we might as well start with talking about... What?
Like, well, he was dead. Gaddafi.
Who? Well, he's in the chat. He's in the chat anyway.
Prime Minister.
Maybe it's his boy's a football player.
Yeah, he's like Saddam, he has a double.
But we might as well start off the game on Saturday. I mean, what can you actually say about that? And everybody's seen it coming, didn't we?
Yeah, we did. We did, in fairness. Go, I'll let Paul go. He hasn't been on in a while, so go, Paul.
You know, I hear a lot of looking at the banter page and stuff like that and reading stuff about reports. But when you hear people saying, I can see improvements in the first half. You know, we played well in the first half. And I'm looking going, what game are you playing? You know, like what game are you watching? Trusty is still on his own in the back. Like, we were all over the place in that first half. We were lucky if we had a decent striker, maybe we would have been out of touch. But if Rangers attacked us in that first half, Mark, we were wide open. You know, because everyone was all...
See what you're saying there, Paul? Everybody's saying, if he'd had a striker, we'd have been out of sight and all that. But I was on the phone to somebody earlier just before I came on, and I said to him, and even if we'd went in at half-time 3-0 up, Would you have been confident? Honestly, would you have been confident in that?
No chance.
No, because the thing about me, you see Manchester United today, they got rid of Amarin because supposedly they wanted him to change his tactics as well, and there's a lot of things behind the scenes there. If you don't have the players to play the 3-5-2-1 formation, it's not going to work. Clearly, there was, for me anyway, right, there was no plan to disappointment. Celtic didn't have one player in their squad that could play that system. So they bring in a manager who rips everything up. What are we going to do? Sell the squad to suit this manager? It was never going to happen, Mark. It was never going to work.
Aye.
You have McGowan there in left wing. And if rumours are true, when Nancy first came in, he told him, "You're playing left wing back." And Tom said, "I'm a midfielder." And he goes, "You're not. You're left wing back." And that kind of attitude, Mark, is not going to go down well with the first team players at all.
I mean, we spoke about it before. You'd like to think that when he was coming in, he looked at the players he's got, the players that we've got, and looked at what he wanted to do as a team and kind of find a happy medium. Even the now, do you know what I mean? Or even just stick with the plan that it was under even Martin O'Neill. Just even that.
And blending your own thing.
Just coming in right away and trying to rip it up at the start, halfway through a season. That for me, that was craziness.
That's the typical French, though, ain't it? Pigs. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but do you think, Mark?
No one likes the French.
Do you think, Mark, he actually, if you showed him a picture of the Celtic squad and said, "Name that player, name that player, name that player," would he have known them? And I'm highly likely think he said the answer is no. Because I saw a clip of when he was introduced James Forrest in the gymnasium. Yeah. And he had to be basically brought on and go, "Oh, this is James Forrest." Now, if you're the Celtic manager coming in, surely to God you know a guy who's been in the club 20 plus years. Like, you don't need to be told that's James Forrest.
The most caps for the team. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, the most trophies, one of the most decorated players in the club's history. And the guy bringing him around has to go, "Oh, this is James Forrest here." He doesn't know who the most trophy-laden person is in the club, and he has to be introduced to him. Like, when I saw that straight away, I was like, this guy hasn't the Scoobies. And like Paul is saying there as well, I'd say the happiest people this evening are the players.
Definitely.
Apart from the supporters, but I'd say the players.
I was reading stuff there. You look at Scales' comment after the cup final loss, and he was asked, "Where do we go from here?" And he says, "I don't know." And we didn't see Scales in the starting lineup anymore. And I think the exact same thing would have happened to McCowan if Nancy was still in charge tonight. We wouldn't have saw him the next game.
But Paul, he's dropped. And
yesterday.
And I'm maybe slightly biased, being Irish, blah blah blah. But Scales has been the best defender for the last 2 years.
Exactly, Terence.
Scales has been the best defender Celtic have had for the last 2 years. Look, he's of course he's not without his errors, and his distribution from the back at times when he's asked to do it hasn't been the best. I'm not saying he's not flawed. Of course he is. But if you ask him to do his job, which is defend, he stands out as the best defender that Celtic have had. This guy has then decided to go, "I'll have one defender. I'll have two wing backs or two full backs either side of him, and expect full backs in a back three to get past the wing backs and past the forward men." Like, you wouldn't see the setup in under 10s football. If you saw it, you'd be kind of going, that guy has never coached a team like.
You look at the Rangers' second goal there.
Oh yeah, but you could blame.
You could blame Trusty, but I was looking then, right? Trusty's so used to having someone next to him on both sides. So Trusty was in two minds going, will I go or will I stay? Trusty didn't know what to do. And that's coming down to his tactics and his system.
It's a bit like the goal the other week, Paul, when Ralston and Yang kind of ran into each other.
Yeah.
It's like they didn't actually, none of them knew what they were meant to be actually doing. That's how that happened, I think.
But you're even, Mark, if you look at that goal that Paul's talking about, who took the throw in? Ralston. Ralston is taking the throw in because in his head he's a fullback. And when the ball goes to touch, he takes the throw in. But in a back three, he should be nowhere near taking a throw in.
Exactly.
But he's so tuned in that I'm a right back. Ball's going to touch. I take the throw. He goes to McGregor. McGregor passes to him. He loses it, and there's no one behind him. Like, he's asking the defence to play on the half a line, a 3-man defence to play on the half a line. And with the greatest respects, none of them are blessed. And it doesn't matter if it was Scales in there or Carter Vickers or whoever. None of them are blessed with extraordinary speed. So again, opposition are just going, they're so high up. Play it over the top. And as Paul said, the second goal, Trusty should have closed your man down, no question about it. But there's huge questions over the keeper. I mean, Schmeichel should have done so much better for the second goal. The third goal is embarrassing. I'd be embarrassed if I was him.
But you know what, Terence? As bad as Schmeichel is, I don't think whoever we had in goal there, we were still conceding all these goals.
Oh, listen, Paul, we were conceding goals. I have no question about it. We had this chat there last week, myself and Mark.
I mean, Schmeichel hasn't been right since he picked up that. It's like he can't go down in that shoulder that he injured.
Well, he probably can't go down in that shoulder either, Paul, because he's the same size as a pregnant duck at the minute.
Fuck, he's huge, all right now, right? In fairness to him, like.
He looks like he still has 1983 Christmas dinner in him. You know what I mean? He's massive, like you know, his arse cheeks are hitting the ground before the rest of him is hitting the ground. You know what I mean? He's taking so slow to get down. But like, it's poor goalkeeping. Celtic would concede goals regardless, Paul, right? There's no question about it.
You remember the cheap beauty of fucking game years ago that the asses are fucking huge and the teams.
But we said this, Paul, the other day, myself and Mark, we were talking. Celtic are going into a game, and we were saying it before this game, they're going in a minimum of 1 goal down. You know they're going to be concede at least 1 goal. And they've conceded an average at least 2 goals a game. So you're going in 2-0 down or at least 1-0 to 2-0 down before you start the game. We have no striker up front because Johnny Kenny isn't good enough. And we have no one else because they're bringing on Shinamada, who again is no good. It's just like, it was just kamikaze football, and I don't know how he thought he was going to survive when you lose 6 out of 8 games, and 7 of those teams are SPL teams. You know, it's not like he lost 4 of those games in Europe. He lost 1 to European team, and 7 of them are SPL teams.
The Roma games are a bit of dead rubber. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but the other games you say they're all Scottish sides. And they were played off the park by Motherwell. Absolutely played off the park by Motherwell. And the problem is, like Paul said, and someone said it there before as well, Celtic have performed decent in the first half of the games. The opposition manager then sees it and tweaks it and changes it. And the reason I genuinely think that the Celtic coach doesn't do it is because he can't do it. He's not able to do it. He doesn't understand how to do it. Like, this is a guy that was managing in the MLS. He hasn't managed anywhere else, to my knowledge. So it's like he has one set formation, and when the opposition change it and tweak it, like every single manager came out at full time and said it. Jim Goodwin said it. Derek McGuinness said it. Stephen Robson said it. Even the Rangers manager weekend changed it in the middle of the park, and all of a sudden he doesn't know what to do. Like, you know, so like, I mean, I'm glad. I'm so happy he's gone. But I'm actually surprised he even lasted as long as this, because it's been an absolute. They've made Celtic a laughing stock for the last number of weeks.
I think any manager like us or them across the road, I think to get at half time 1-0 up my Derby and then to lose it 3-1, I think if any like if they were on a bit of any kind of dodgy run, that would be the final nail in their coffin.
But it's not even the losing, Mark. It's the manner of the losing. It's not the losing. Aye. You can lose a game, but it's how you lose the game is what I would be looking at. You know what I mean?
We always look dodgy any time the opposition had the ball against us under Nancy. But we looked good going forward at times. We really did give him his due of that. But
they did look very good going forward at times, 100%. But the problem was the drop from the majority of games, the drop from the first half performance to the second half performance was alarming. I mean, it was
why was that?
I just think the opposition manager saw the differences, changed the differences. Whether they flooded the midfield, put more people in midfield, or whatever they done, or went more with the long ball into the spaces that Celtic were leaving, I don't know. I'm not a manager. I wouldn't know that. But they've obviously tweaked something. But he doesn't change anything, and that's a problem. Like, surely, like, he should be, if he's a half decent manager, he should see, okay, they're exploiting us, they're going long. But he's also stubborn, Mark. He's saying, I'm not going to change to a back three. And that's the sword you're going to fall on. You cannot, as a Celtic manager, lose 6 out of 8 games, 7 of them to SPL teams, concede over 2 goals a game, and then think it's okay.
Well, it was nearly 21 goals or something we conceded or something, was it?
Well, they conceded 2 against Hearts, 3 against St. Mirren. They played 3 against Roma. They conceded 2 against Dundee United, 2 against Motherwell, 3 against Rangers. Do you know? And I'm probably missing some. Livingston, they conceded 2 as well. So it was ridiculous, Paul. It was probably about 18 or 19 goals in the 7 or 8 games. Like,
I just couldn't listen to him. Anytime I heard him, I was like, because I refused to watch him, Terence. I said, I just, as long as he's there, I said, I'm not. But the 2 games I watched was the Motherwell game and the game on Sunday, and I said, no, can't take him. He has to go. And I'm like you. I'm surprised he's lasted so long. You know, just like you think clearly that the players and I saw a comment there. Cal McGregor has been quiet, and I honestly think McGregor just couldn't come out and lie that they're behind the manager. You know, I honestly think that McGregor couldn't come out and say he's behind the manager. I don't think he could. I don't think he had the full backing of that whole team.
I'd say the team are delighted he's gone, Paul, because this is a team that, again, we were talking with Mark about. This is a team that Martin O'Neill, the squad of players that Martin O'Neill had, and he won 7 out of 8 games, and games in Europe as well. Yes, he lost well to Michelin, but that's like, you know, they were flying at the same, like, with the Roma side of it. But he beat Feyenoord away. He beat Rangers in the Cup semi-final. It might have been pretty football, but it's effective football. As I said to Mark, I couldn't care less if Celtic win if the ball goes in off someone's arse and they win 1-0. Exactly. I don't really care as long as Celtic win. But this guy, this Nancy guy, he was for the birds. Like, he was, as I said to you before, he's as mad as a box of frogs, that fella. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, he's gone on about saying you know he's in trouble when he's explaining to say, I didn't have a pre-season. Give me more time. You can see what I'm doing. We're doing a lot of good things. And everyone is sitting there going, man, you're a lunatic. Like, you should be in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest or something. You know, it's just made no sense, like, what he was saying. Like,
I couldn't listen to his press conferences. It was Ted Lasso type of stuff, wasn't it?
We'd have been laughing our backsides off if that was the other side of the city. No, and there's no surprise that they're laughing at Celtic now. Celtic have gone from a position of strength, even when Rodgers was there. They've gone from a position of strength to a position of weakness. That any team that Celtic were playing, they were fancying their chances that were going to beat Celtic in the SPL. Any of the teams, didn't matter who they were from top to bottom.
It's just, I mean, see, to be honest as well, seeing a way, I feel a bit sorry for the guy.
No, right? Not at all. No. Shite, Mark. No.
No, it's the same as Paul. Not one continental.
No, when I saw the comments on the,
I just don't think he grasped and
Mark, when I saw the comments the other day on the, I don't know who it was from. It was on the banter page, lads. Celtic fans should lay off Nancy. He's a family man. He's a family. I'm looking, going, fuck that. I mean, his family should have told him he's shit, and he will always be shit, and you should stay in fucking USA.
Yeah, but I'd be the same. I'd be the same as Paul, Mark. What's all this? What's all that got to do with it? He's there to manage Celtic. I couldn't give a fiddler's toss about sympathy for him or sympathy for this. He's getting paid a lot of money to do a job. He's doing the job and he's doing it badly, very badly. And he's also he's shown levels of arrogance and stupidity. Are you telling me that players haven't gone to him like Callum McGregor and going, boss, we cannot play this way. We're struggling to play this way. Or Gavin Strachan hasn't gone to him and said, look, they're really struggling, blah, blah, blah. He's decided, I'm playing this way. I don't care how many goals we ship. And I said it to you before, the definition of stupidity is doing the same thing over again and expecting a different result. And this bellend hasn't realised he's doing the same thing over again and he's losing game after game after game. So I have absolutely zero sympathy for him. None whatsoever. And he can take his one-way ticket, first class, and straight back to the US of A or wherever else he wants to go. But he's gone out of Celtic. Thank God.
He might be at Rangers next year, because they account to him. He did a good job. They could see improvements in the first half that we should have been had. So he might be their next coach. Yeah.
Well, in fairness to their fella, Paul, he came in and he's after doing it. He's after steadying the ship there for them. He's after steadying the ship for them. Listen, Celtic were 10 or 12 points ahead of them a couple of months ago. They're level now, like.
But I tell you one thing, we're lucky that Hearts are losing matches because we could be further away than 6 points. You know, like losing your 2 games in hand. Do you know what I mean?
I know, but you were never confident winning any game with that clown in charge, Paul. Do you know? Let's be fair about it. You're struggling to beat Livingston. It was like watching the Harlem Globetrotters against Livingston. It was they score, you score, you score, they score.
We're lucky Livingston ran out of steam in the end. You know, that's what we are. Did any
but that Celtic team is very unfit too, Paul. That Celtic team is very, very unfit. Take away the fact that Kasper Schmeichel looks like Kasper the Ghost. He's about the same size as him anyway.
Is that down to Rodgers then?
See, that's where I was going to go on with terms when I said about the drop off in the second half. Yeah, is it something to do with the fitness, the training?
Yeah, after we pointed Ange, and we all said at the time, Rodgers was the best man we could get. But did we go a step back in the point in Rodgers instead of going forward and appointing another new commander that would play similar to Ange? Because when Ange came in, you could see he wanted to restructure the club. The academies were playing the same way he wanted, so players could start coming up. They'd be ready to come up and stuff like that. Rodgers came in, then he just ripped everything up.
Well, who's to say Paul didn't think that this guy was going to do the Ange Postecoglou style thing? He was a guy that we didn't know. There was no comparison because Postecoglou had managed at international level and all the rest of it. What I mean from a Celtic perspective, I would imagine that most of the Celtic fans hadn't heard of Postecoglou the same way they hadn't heard of this Nancy fella. So whether they were thinking he was going to be another kind of out of the blue star or whatever, I don't know, but I'd agree with you about the Rodgers thing. I think majority of it is down to Rodgers that they're not fit. Because the Celtic team look knackered in most games I've seen with 20 minutes to go. They look knackered.
See, one of the things when Nancy's foot, and we spoke about it as well. I mean, Daft Henke on the Discord right away said he was getting the job, and we all tortured him, right? And he did for some weird, don't know, right? But it came into the betting and the listing like from nowhere. So there was obviously some connection to somewhere, whether it was through Tisdale and something like that. But
thank God he's gone.
Aye, that's for me. That's more important probably than Nancy going as well in the long run for Celtic.
And he's fucking stupid, fucking computer data that he fucking set up.
But to be fair, Paul, he like even if he had a supposedly computer data thing set up, he must have been down and looking at players in about Division 8 because he hardly brought in one good player. Like, you know, the guy had the clue, and the sooner Celtic actually started bringing people in on the basis of qualifications and experience, rather than the previous appointment of Lawwell's young lad, Mark Lawwell, they're saying they're scouring all over the world for the best and they get Mark Lawwell. Well, no, I doubt it very much. Why is he there? He's there because obviously his dad is in the position. And again, there's all the talks that Tisdale met Dermot Desmond or whatever it was golfing and they became great friends and great buddies.
Golf event. Just see what golf event or it was a wedding.
A wedding or something.
And
yeah, well, whatever it is, but you know, are you picking the best guy then there? No, you're not. You're picking a guy because you know him and you're pally with him and you get on well with him and, oh, he's this and he's supposed to be excellent. Well, he's probably not if he's the Exeter. Do you know what I mean? If he was involved with Exeter and these other teams. But compared to, say, the lad they've got in now, who I assume will probably take over as the head of the football, the guy from Chelsea, I would assume he probably would take over that role.
Will he not be replacing that Jay Lefebvre?
Yeah, but Mark, you know Celtic now, Mark. He's going to be fucking. Do you know what I mean? He'd be given a different title now, and he'll take over everything. You know, so Chelsea are going to come on new Man City. We're going to sign all Chelsea youngsters. You know,
that's what I was just when you say Man City again. That's what I was saying there about Nancy working on the MLS and that. Right, he's there. The MLS, right? It's not that great a league. But he's this forward-thinking, revolutionary coach that's playing this cracking football that's finishing, what was it, 7th in the league or something like that, under the nose of the City group. And do you know what I mean? All these other big clubs. Why did the City group no spot his quality in the MLS and give him a job somewhere within that?
They did, Mark. They did spot his quality. And they knew he'd be shit.
But do you know what I mean? The way he was kind of hyped up that he was like, do you know what I mean? Oh, he's playing football, but it's the MLS, but see, under the noses of the City group and like LA, Miami or something. That who is it? Messi plays with. Do you know what I mean? All these big teams that are looking for all the next thing here in America, and not one of them thought he could do him a turn. Yeah, because he coaching under 14 lasses.
They obviously knew. They obviously all knew, Mark, that he was rubbish.
Because, Mark, you look at it like and. You look at all the Man City groups and their structures, none of them play a 3-5-2-1. None of them play. You only have about...
So that's a player too many, Paul. That's 12.
Whatever. Yeah, well, fuck's sake, if we still had 12 players, we still fucking lose. That's what we would. But if you look at the teams that play that formation, right, there's only a handful in Europe, maybe 5, 6, and at best. Bayern Leverkusen were lucky that Bayern Munich had a bad year. That year that they won it with Alonso, and the minute he's gone, they're gone back to a 4, whatever. They went back to 4 in the back. I mean, so you have to be, you have to have the players to do, and that's my thinking, like of this whole appointment is, all right. Celtic knew clearly, looking at our team. We do not have the players for that. So what was their thinking in trying to get players signed in this transfer window, right? We're signing a right midfielder. And if Nancy would have won yesterday or got a result the other day, we say 1-1, he could have been still in charge. And we were signing the right winger. Do you know what I mean? Do you know?
Aye. But why are we signing the right winger when we don't play with wingers?
Exactly. And then
that defender that was at the game the other day, he was out here for talks.
He can fuck off, and when he can fuck off back to America, that's what he can.
He's 31 or something, isn't he?
Aye.
Yeah, he was free, Terence. He's free.
He was definitely out here for talks.
Yeah, but that aside, Paul, like, I mean, you were saying about the formation, the 3-4-3, whatever he was doing, but I guarantee there's nowhere in the world that you'll have a team where the manager will say to the left and right, which should be normal centre backs and the centre guy in the middle, I want both of you to overlap fucking everyone and leave Billy Nometz here by himself to defend the whole pitch. I want you overlapping.
How big is Scales? 6'5", 6'6"?
Who's this?
Scales. How big is Scales? 6'5", 6'6"?
I wouldn't say he's as tall as that. I'd say he's about 6'3" or 4". But that aside, Paul, you don't.
Corner flag. That's your point, Terence. Like, you Scales in the corner flag, overlapping Tierney and fucking thing, trying to cross the ball. You Scales doing that. Do you know what I mean?
I know, but the whole point of a 3-5-2, Paul, is you have 3 centre halves, generally speaking, or 3 defenders. Anyway, certainly centre halves most times that they sit there. the notion of asking the guy who's left and right of the central centre back to overlap the wing back and overlap the guy again in front of him, and then think that there's nothing wrong with that. When you go, what happens when you lose the ball? Who's going to come back? And the players hadn't a notion what was going on. And I felt sorry for Trusty, and I said this to Mark as well. I felt sorry for Trusty because he was hung out to dry.
I felt sorry for Ralston.
All of them, Paul. All of them, Mark. Ralston and Tierney and them, whoever was there, they were hung out to dry.
Aye, I mean, see Ralston, right? Ralston could, right, whether you like him, no, everybody will go in the chat, he's garbage, whatever, right?
Mark, fucking Ralston spends more time in the fucking floor than my dog shits when I tell him up the next day.
No, but right, he's a right back, right? And I've said this before, right? He could probably cover at centre back. But a normal centre back, just a big old-fashioned centre back.
Not that role, Mark. Not that
role.
Yeah.
No. And Celtic didn't. Right, Tierney could do a bit of it because he's used to doing it with Scotland. I said, well, this is apparently what I was told with somebody, right? Anyway, right, but the defensive part had been in the back three. But it's even the forward stuff. Tierney's been as honking as Ralston.
Oh, he has, but
because again, it's not that they're honking; they're just getting caught
Mark, they're miles out of position.
Aye.
They're been asked to do something that's I think nigh and impossible to do. It's nigh and impossible to do, to be in a back three, and I want you overlapping everyone to support the wing backs and the front men and be their support across the ball. And then when you lose it, I need you to sprint back as quickly as you can to defend. You wouldn't see that in under 10s football. It's just
got a text there saying that Stephen McManus is back in to help Maloney.
Well, I wouldn't mind that, Mark. At least there might be some practicality there and some sensible.
Frosty McFarlane is coming back, I say as well. So I say, is he?
But Paul,
the fella McFarlane will probably come back as well. I say.
Maybe aye.
Yeah.
But they just need to get back to a sensible, stable setup. Your normal, whether it's, I don't care whatever way they want to do it once there's 4 defenders there. Once there's 2 fullbacks and 2 centre backs. After that, they can go 4-4-2 or 4-3-3 or whatever way they want to do it from the midfield on. But if they have 3 or 2 fullbacks, 2 centre backs as normal, and take out the stuffed turkey and goals at the minute, maybe put in the other lads. Other than that, I really don't care what to do from the midfield up.
Well, that's in a salad. I wasn't too impressed with him the other week, but again, who has impressed us the last few weeks? I'm not going to bad mouth the lad, wasn't he?
No, he wasn't. But the third goal, the second goal, I thought Schmeichel could have done a bit better, and the third goal, I'd say the third goal of the Rangers fella was more surprised than anyone that it went in. It was shocking goalkeeping.
Aye. I'm talking about putting the young boy in Sinisalo instead of Schmeichel. I don't know, how was it? I mean,
Ross, is it Doohan, is it?
No, Sinisalo.
Sinisalo, oh yeah.
The young Finnish boy, I think he took a bit of, maybe his confidence took a bit of a batter another week as well.
Yeah, but Mark, that's down to the formation. As I said there with a goal, I know Schmeichel has been bad, but I don't think any goalkeeper would. I think any goalkeeper would be conceding these goals because we were so open. Do you get me? We were so. The thing that really surprised me with Schmeichel, and I text you, Mark, there on Saturday, is how bad Schmeichel's distribution has gone. How bad, that was his strong point. Like his dad, his distribution was always fucking bang on. I know, but
why, Paul? Why, Paul? Do they think now all of a sudden that the goalkeeper needs to pass the ball to the guy at the edge of the box when there's a boy sitting on his back and left and right? What's wrong with playing the ball down? What's wrong with playing a normal goal kick? What's wrong with playing a normal? If you're in trouble, just clear the lines.
Do you remember the Tottenham game there? Vicario got slated because he was over by the corner flag, and instead of kicking the ball down the line, he tried a smart pass, and it went to I think it was Nottingham Forster playing and not when Forrest scored. And the Tottenham fans were booing. And Frank came out and said, no, this is what I want him to do. This is what I want him to do. It's football now has got too controlled.
But I don't understand. Like, you're never going to score a goal in your own box, or very rarely. Whereas you're allowing the opposition. You're allowing the opposition to push up on top of you and press you, especially when you see things like the goalkeeper's taking a goal kick and Scales is at the edge of the 6-yard box and he passes it to him. And then Scales tries to pass it to Tierney, and then it's back to Schmeichel, and then it's back to Relson, and you're going like, what?
Man, that's it's not just that's everywhere now, man. That's everywhere.
I know, but like,
but it doesn't mean it's right. But
it's monkey see, monkey see, monkey do.
Overthinking the new modern thing, and do you know what I mean?
Christ, I was like that John Smith had. I mean, the ball came to him. I was like, Havertz, and it was gone.
I mean, it's like you can even get back to years. How many times came back even to, like, say, Pat Boner and that? How many times were they getting like touches of the ball just for, like a pass? But do you know what I mean? Just that kind of way, as if they're another defender that need to be involved in the play. Yeah, but overthinking. For me, I agree, Terence. It's overthinking nonsense.
But Mark, the key is, like, not to sound like what Roy Keane would always say, but the goalkeeper's job is to stop goals. The clue's in the name. Like, he's a goalkeeper. It doesn't say anything about he's meant to be a brilliant passer of the ball. I couldn't give a fiddler's you-know-what if he couldn't pass the ball great. If he can stop, if he's a brilliant shot stopper. Prime example is your man Butland played well the other day. He stopped he stopped a lot of good shots. He's a decent keeper. I know he plays for them, but he's a decent keeper. Like, do you? I would rather a keeper that can save shots and command his box than someone say, "Oh, he's very good with his feet." If he's good with his feet, then he can play outfield.
But that Kenny shot was a bad miss, though.
I understand that, Paul. But what I'm saying is, he's a keeper's job is to stop goals, stop shots.
He's doing the easy stuff well, but that's too. Do you know what? That's the thing, and I mean, I honestly think he's getting better.
I think he has, but he's
been a better keeper while he's been earlier.
Yeah, and like as I said, Mark,
when we started the podcast,
was there any pictures? Hold on, Paul. Was there any pictures? Just taking a chat and that. Was there any pictures come out for training today? Because there was gossip. Stevie Woods was away. And then last night the gossip changed and it was Stevie Woods and wee baby Stratton were away. But nothing, then we get Tisdale and Nancy were away. But has anybody heard anything or actually know anything about what the Stevie Woods situation is?
Nothing has come out officially for them with Stevie Woods anyway, so it hasn't.
No, and that would be disgusting. If he has actually left and they've not put any official, that would be a bit of a new low even for the board as we know them. Do you know what I mean? But as I said, it has been gossip. Or they were off again the day. Life of Riley, man, isn't they?
But going back to the point there, Mark, what I'm saying is, like, about the goalkeeper and all that kind of thing. Like, a striker's judged on goals. No one's going to say he misses a load of chances like Kenny does, but he makes great runs and he crosses a couple of good balls. Some will say he can't score because the clue's in the name. He's a striker. He's meant to score. It's like saying the keeper's brilliant with his feet, but he can't save a shot. What's that? That's useless to you. Like, a keeper needs to be able to command his box, save shots. This nonsense is short passing. There's times I feel like taking the telly off the wall and firing it out the window. It does my nothing. And there's no reason for it. All what you're doing is bringing on pressure on players who haven't the ability to do that. They haven't the ability. You're asking players to pass the ball out at times who haven't the ability to do that.
We don't have the players. We
don't know, but you're asking them to do things they can't do. Like, it's like that moron that was there with the manager asking them to play three at the back. They can't do it. But you're still going to ask him to do it. Like, it's like me asking, as I said to Mark, it's like someone giving me a basketball and saying, "Will you slam dunk there, will you?" Put in 5'3". If I had a ladder, I might do it. but I won't do it normally. It's just, I don't understand some of the nonsense that the way the football's gone. Just go back and play. Keeper saves, defenders defend, strikers score.
It was Bournemouth, Joe. Fraser Foster's away to Bournemouth. I was just reading the chat there. Sorry to you.
No, you're grand. You're grand. But this is you're making a very simple game become very complicated for no reason whatsoever. Because this is the way they do it in Barcelona or Real Madrid or Bayern Munich. This is what we have to do now. No, but you don't have to do it. Like if Billy jumps off the bridge into the water, do we all have to do it? No, we don't. If he wants to be a moron to do it, let him do it. No, don't have to. You don't have to do the same thing.
But I mean, but as football new, it's an overthought game, isn't it?
Like if you think the second Motherwell goal that Schmeichel gave away, there's no requirement for that pass. If you're under pressure, no one in the world will have a problem with you if you drill that ball down the middle of the field. And the defence should get reset, and the ball's in the air. Your midfielder should challenge for it, and maybe they'll win it. But you're playing an absolute hospital pass to a man to a Celtic player who's facing his own goal with a Motherwell fella in his pocket, basically, and you're not even playing it to his feet. I don't know. I've seen goals even in Premier League matches and highlights and things you see, and fellas are trying to do these passes out from the back and they get caught. More times than not, it results in a goal, and I just don't understand why fellas just can't play it maybe up the line. We have a fella who's as quick as anything in Maeda. Play it up the line, let him
on the overlap. Like it's good when it's done because the big teams have these players, but when you see teams coming up from the championship and they're trying to play that way against the big teams, and they're just conceding goals, you know what I mean? Like Roy Keane's making a point, and you could put that back to what you're saying, Terence, about Celtic. We don't have the players to play like that. Scales isn't comfortable with the ball. You can see that. Trusty, fuck me, if Trusty actually did a good pass, I'll go to church.
Yeah, but Paul, their job is to defend. Teams now go, well, I'll mark Callum McGregor and let the two centre-backs bring out the ball who aren't comfortable at doing it, who aren't necessarily known as good passers of the ball. We'll mark McGregor, and Celtic can't play because he's the only guy that takes the ball up and dictates play and passes around. So, if that's the case, then you negate that. You get, okay, we might, instead of doing that, we'll play quicker balls. We'll play longer balls up to the likes of Maeda. Change the way you play. Get teams thinking. The problem with it is when you keep playing the same way, everyone knows what you're going to do. And they just set up and they go, we know Celtic are going to do this. And how many managers this season have already said, if we mark Callum McGregor out of the game, we know Celtic are in trouble. The Motherwell guy said it. We've heard Jim Goodwin said it. The Rangers guy probably said it the other day as well. Do you know?
That's he brought on Monday, I say.
Pardon?
He brought on here.
Yeah, probably. But this is what I'm saying, Paul. And when this happens, they say we mark Callum McGregor out of the game, Celtic can't play. But Celtic should be able and should be sensible enough and have a manager there that can go, grand. If they're doing that, I'm going to change that. Right. They're going to tie Callum McGregor down, but I'm going to tie their man down. I'm going to play the ball long into the channels or put a number 9 up. No, we don't have a number 9, but put a big man up front and play it more direct and play off them. Change it around. Just make the opposition guess, but they don't. It's the same thing over and over again. And you're expecting players to do things that they can't do. Asking Anthony Ralston to bring out the ball and be that playmaker from the back, or as you said, Scales or Trusty. It's not fair on those guys. It's not fair because they're not capable of doing that. They're decent enough players, they're decent enough defenders, but they're not guys. They're not central midfielders. That's not what they're comfortable at doing.
Anthony Ralston get to the halfway line and shit himself and pass it back to fucking Schmeichel. That's all he's doing is passing the ball back.
I know, but it's not fair.
She playing as a normal fancy, but no fan, a normal old-fashioned centre back. There's nothing wrong with that.
No, there isn't, Mark.
Even if the ball comes to me, just scalps it out of the park. But do you know what I mean? Ralston probably capable of playing as a centre back, and
probably so low if he fucking pelted the ball forward, Mark. Fucking Ralston at this stage.
But he's just been as shite as Kieran Tierney.
Yeah, well, he's been as shite as all of them, Paul. He's been as rubbish as every single player in the Celtic squad since this guy's come in. They're all the same. None of there's no performances. There's been no good performances there out of any player.
From day one, the players must have decided from their first talk with, and it's going back to what you said, Terence. He didn't know who James Forrest was. You know?
But this is a guy, Paul, that allegedly, when Callum McGregor went in to speak to him, he told him to get out of his office, allegedly, and said, when I need to speak to you, I'll call you. This is the club captain, a guy who's probably 20 years in the club, like. And this is a guy that Nancy should have been having on his side. He should have been making sure he's his best buddy.
The manager's post should always be open to the captain.
Yeah, but straight away, if you're the captain, you're Callum McGregor walking away, you're going, screw this guy. I won't be going out of my way to help this guy if that's his attitude. But, you know, you would, like, human nature will dictate that, regardless of whether he's the Celtic captain or not. If a new manager fobbed him off like that, he'd be like, who the hell does your man think he is like? You would be like, you know, it's human nature. There's been no player good under this guy, Paul. None. And Yang has probably been the best player, but again, it's in peaks and troughs. All the defenders have been hung out to dry. Tierney's been rotten. Ralston's been rotten. Trusty's been the only centre half that's played. He's been terrible. Like, I mean, the other centre halves haven't played really. Scales played one game and he was very poor as well. But you know, I mean, they can't all go from a good, decent squad under Martin O'Neill, where they were winning games, to all of a sudden going, they look like players that have never played the game together before. They look all over the place. And if this Nancy guy had come in after Rodgers, even then you'd be questioning it. But he came in with the momentum flying it. They had caught up to Hearts. They were level with Hearts. They were on a winning run. The players were confident. The players were enjoying their football. And this guy came in and just tore it all up. Sorry, Mark?
Cup final to play for, Terence. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Do you know, you had a chance to go top of the table, I think it was, or was it top of the table clash against Hearts? You had a chance to go top of the league, a cup final the following week, and I think Europe the following week. He had 3 big games in a row. And he came in and rather than taking advice from the likes of O'Neill, who's been around the block for a long, long time, and taking on board the likes of Callum McGregor, taking him aside and saying, look, blah, 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 all the rest of it, whatever it was, he was just, no, I'm doing it this way, and that's it. And fine, but he's isolated the players from himself at the time he did. Like, I mean, I thought a lot of players probably chucked it, and I wouldn't blame them. Trusty looked like he was unbelievably annoyed. I'm sure the likes of Scales was annoyed. The young lad from City obviously decided they called him back. Luke McGowan, every time you see him at the end of the match, looks like he was livid. Like, you know, he said he doesn't even talk to his family and friends at the minute, and they're all Celtic fans because he's so pissed off.
Martin O'Neill named manager until the end of the season.
Oh, is it?
Aye.
Well, that's good to hear.
Celtic Football Club can confirm that Martin O'Neill will be joining the club as manager until the end of the season. Martin will be supported by Sean Maloney and Mark Fotheringham as assistants, as will Stephen McManus, who will join our existing coaches Gavin Stratton, Stevie Woods and Greg Wallace to oversee first team matters.
Good. That's good to hear. A little bit of stability there anyway.
Who was the last one there, sorry?
Greg
Wallace.
Greg Wallace.
Who's that?
William Wallace's brother.
Him that done MasterChef.
Yeah. He's William Wallace's brother, Paul.
Never fucking heard of him. How long's he been at Celtic?
The wee baldy guy who used to do MasterChef.
Yeah.
With the glasses.
He's William Wallace's brother.
Don't watch fucking MasterChef either.
No, I can't read what he does now. He's been there a while. But the joke is about that he's to get the same name as that wee weird guy.
I know what you're talking
about. I thought they were going to announce Peter Lorre. That's what I did.
But he's a performance analyst, so that must be like to replace that video analysis guy that Nancy brought in.
That's what Strachan did. I thought that's what Strachan did.
No.
There's probably a few of them for that, though, Paul. There's probably a few of them involved in that, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, a lot of this too falls in Strachan, like, you know, because
None of it falls.
he's
None of it.
number 3.
None of it falls in Strachan, Paul. None of it.
What?
None of it falls in
No.
Strachan.
Because, Paul, if we have Stratton sitting saying, well, look, we're the map, the heat maps and all this, the stats, we're getting pulled apart here, we're getting pulled apart there, and Nancy just saying, well, and what?
Yeah.
I mean, we spoke of that even before about Ange and under Rodgers, but even that stubborn.
I'll take out my football board there and I'll change things around. Jesus fucking Christ.
You see my battleship thing, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, but Paul, do you not think that a guy like Gavin Strachan, who's been there for a good while now, that he hasn't gone to either the assistant manager and said, listen, we're getting torn apart this area of the pitch. We're getting torn apart this area of the pitch. We need to change it. But the manager, Paul, you could hear him even in interviews. He was like, no, we're doing good things. I'm not changing, blah, blah, blah. Like I don't think he'd listen to any of them, to be perfectly honest.
No, one of the reasons that Stevie Woods he told him that he'll give him a 6-month probation or something. Was that the rumour? That was the rumour.
That was the stories.
Yeah.
He gave him a 6-month probation. I mean, that right away, that's a red flag.
You don't club 18 years and produce some of the best keepers in Celtic freaking history. You know,
turn down jobs at some of the biggest clubs in the world to stay at Celtic. Exactly. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Yeah, but that kind of tells you about the individual who was the manager then, Paul, doesn't it?
As I'm looking though, like, right, great news, O'Neill's coming back in, right? Okay. But you could clearly see by O'Neill's talking after he left Celtic when he was on the Talk Sports thing there was what's that fella Parrish? Is it Parrish, is it? That he was on with him? Steve Parrish, is it? That kind of podcast.
Aye.
O'Neill was clearly saying that players are needed in this club, right? And Celtic badly need a and I'm just looking at the board and the way our board is at the moment. Are we still waiting for an Iheanacho to come back and be fit instead of signing another striker?
Because I would be very surprised, Mark or Paul. I'd be very surprised if O'Neill took the job.
I can't see us score goals. I really can't, because the games weren't pretty under Martin, but he got us results. There were 1-0 results, there were 2-1 results, but they were results. But Celtic badly need a striker.
But Paul, I don't think someone like O'Neill would take this position unless he had assurances, even till the end of the season. I'd be very surprised if he's taken a job. When he had the job, he couldn't bring in anyone, obviously, because it was outside the window. But I'd be very surprised if they went to him and said, look, we need you to do it for the rest of the season. I'm sure he's probably gone, grand, I don't mind it, but I want assurances. I want assurances that...
We're going to sign someone from Chelsea, from the youth.
Wait, to be honest, Paul, if he knocks in 15 goals between now and the end of the season, I don't care where he comes from.
At this stage, tends to take it just to have, because that Shin Yamada, Jesus fucking Christ.
Well, the problem is, Paul, they're like Jaffas up front. They're firing blanks. Do you know? There's no chance that they're ever going to score. Like do
you know what I think? Us the way we sign players, right? That we have this data system that we used. I think we look like at one season. All right, we look at them for once, and if they have one good season, we'll sign them. You know, they don't look at.
No, but we chased that Balak Wisher for 18 months to a year. I mean, even this boy from Bournemouth, we were meant to be looking at him 18 months ago or something. It just seems to. I messaged you this during yesterday or last night or something. We were talking about signings, and it's like we seem to be just looking at players that we were looking at under Rodgers, sir.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
I mean, you mentioned it enough, Paul. We said a right winger when we don't play a right winger. Mm-hmm. I don't know. And Tisdale's away. Who's going to be in charge of actual recruitment now?
You'd imagine the Chelsea guy was after coming in.
Oh,
to be honest, he was supposed to be working on the He was supposed to be working on the Tisdale, right? And your man is more qualified than Tisdale. Do you get me? You know?
Yeah.
But he's just a head scout.
Okay, well, look, he could listen. To be fair, Paul or Mark, He's probably more qualified than Tisdale anyway, even as a head scout. But the other point I would say to you in regards to the signings or signings that they have done or haven't done, like, I'm a firm believer, and I think even if Celtic have a list and someone has identified players, and I'm not saying Tisdale because I'd say he wouldn't identify the front of someone for the back of someone. But I'd say, Paul, sorry, 1 sec. I'd say if they have 5 players on a list, how many times have Celtic actually gone for player 1 or 2? Maybe even 3. I'd say realistically they go for player 4 and 5.
Let Martin, but I'd even let Martin and he'll have a look at, but see the players that we've got the data and all the scouting and that done for. I mean, obviously, hopefully, Martin O'Neill's maybe got players in mind himself. I mean, even dude like do you know what I mean? He's watching football all the time. His knowledge in the games. Do you know what I mean? He'll know the players that we need.
He would have been around Europe, like with TNT Sports, like, so he would have probably known players around here, like team players, like, you know.
But even Paul, even that aside, Paul, like, there's plenty. Like, and I know I'm probably going to get hammered for this, but I'm going to say it regardless. There's plenty good players in the SPL. But there's a level of snobbery there that you can't sign a player from another Scottish team because you don't think, they might be good enough for Celtic. But considering some of the standard that's at Celtic at the minute, some of the players that are in the Celtic team wouldn't get into some of the other SPL sites.
Yeah, exactly. But I tell you, Nancy won't get into no SPL fucking team, I tell you.
No, I said that as well the other day. Like, even then, I know they were linked with the lad from Hibs. I'm just using him as an example, the striker lad. But, like, would he...
want 5 million for him?
Well, whatever it may be, fair enough. I get that, but 5 million's probably nearly your going rate today, Mark. So what did Celtic play? Did they pay 2 million or something like that? Did they for the likes of Mad? I don't know. Shit, whatever they pay. I don't know. Maybe they didn't.
I've said this before. Hibs are quite entitled to ask for £5 million for that. Kieran Bowie or Bowie, I don't know how you say it, but I mean, I've said that before. Any Scottish team are entitled to ask for anything they want. We do it. We didn't get away with 25, 30. Do you know what I mean? So they're entitled to do the same. But again,
that's what I'm just saying. I think there's a level of snobbery, Mark, at times that you can't sign another player from an SPL team because it like if you ask a lot of fans, would you like to sign that lad from Hibs to centre forward, or actually there's a lad on the Real Madrid B team. He hasn't played for Real Madrid now. He's played for their B team though. He scored a few goals.
Good then, don't the Real Madrid B team terms.
Yeah, but this is what I'm saying. He might be utter pants like. He might be able to do anything.
Whereas you know that Bowie scored. It's like a Lee Griffiths. Go back to Lee Griffiths.
Yeah, exactly. You're asking a guy, Mark, to come half an hour down the road.
Scott McDonald.
McDonald. I mean, a striker, I mean, I've said this, but I will maintain this, right? Even going back to Kyogo and comparing them to other strikers, even there's probably strikers they now playing in Scotland that get a better, that instant kind of striker's instinct. Do you know what I mean? And even Kyogo's got, do you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, of course, definitely, Mark.
Sniff out the half chances kind of thing, your Lee Griffiths, your Scott McDonald's, players like that.
But you also have to remember,
I mean, all we need really. I mean, I'll be happy.
And I'm not.
Get us a team. See, while this window's open, get us a team capable to win this league. That's what I'm looking for.
Do you know who would suit Martin Neil here and now? Is that big, huge, tall fella from Livingston that always terrorises Trusty? That kind of player would suit Martin Neil. A big centre. I'm not saying it's him. But a big centre forward. They're not.
Nacho, because that will be an Nacho if he's fit back, Paul.
Fuck it, but that's why. I think
you're probably fit on him.
Yeah, because he's just injured all along. You know?
Yeah, but that's where I'm saying that lad from Hibs. Like, I mean, for me, if you're a good striker, like the way Lee Griffiths was with Hibs, he was a. And I think, was he Hibs and Dundee, Mark? Was it Hibs? I know he was Hibs, maybe it wasn't Dundee, but it was definitely Hibs. But he was scoring goals. But a good striker with Celtic, if, for argument's sake, I said that Hibs lad, and he's scoring with Hibs and he comes to Celtic, he's probably likely to get generally even more chances than he would at Hibs. Maybe, you know, a good striker should score probably 20 goals a season for Celtic.
Lee Griffiths won't be missing those shots at the weekend, and I tell you that.
No, he wouldn't. But none of them would. Lee Griffiths, Gary Hooper.
Definitely. Celtic's main striker should be scoring a minimum of 20 goals a season.
Like, you know, that's what I'm saying, Mark. And I don't see a problem with signing a lad from Hibs like that.
But you know what I mean? But like, you can't. Kenny never expected, I think, in his career to be Celtic #1 striker. Do you know what I mean? You know.
I know, but he's had a lot of chances. In fairness, normally you'd be critical of going, well, he hasn't been given much of a game time, but he's been given a ton of game time, and he hasn't produced the goods, and he's had a hatful of chances. Like he should have had a hat trick against Dundee United in the first half. He missed a shot there from 6 yards out. It was like missing your mouth with a fork. It was unbelievable. Like, do you know?
Who's this, Kenny?
Yeah. Do you know the one he got against Dundee United was just like he's had loads of game time and he's had plenty of chances. He hasn't converted them, so he can't say that he hasn't been given a go. You know, that's what I'm.
And as we spoke about before, Terence, playing in the League of Ireland, there's not really much difference between your League of Ireland and your Kilmarnocks and Dundees and stuff like that.
That's what I'm saying. Like, you know, like he was never. Like he was scoring goals for fun league of Ireland with Shamrock Rovers, like, and even in the Conference League for Shamrock Rovers, like, so I don't know how he's so fucking bad, and
because I don't think there's no much a difference. I mean, fair dues when you're maybe no Aberdeen's a good shout, but do you know what I mean? The League Ireland and the League of Scotland, take Celtic and Rangers out it. They're awfully similar in standard, really, aren't they?
Hugely, but he looks a guy as well. Obviously, naturally, he will because he's a striker. His job is to score goals. He's obviously hugely lost the confidence, and you know he's not scoring. He's not finishing. Whether O'Neill can put the arm around him like his man management skills are, I don't know. But I still think Celtic need a better striker than what we have there now. A guy that will score at least 10 or 15 goals between now and the end of the season.
I wouldn't be surprised. I would honestly see that now that we know that O'Neill's in charge for the end of the season, I wouldn't be surprised to see like a few signings in even before the weekend. Well,
as I said, Mark, I think the fact that O'Neill has taken it over and he's agreed to take it over, I would be very surprised if he hasn't done it on an ultimatum that he's basically said, I'll do it, but I want signings. And I want good signings. I want, not this guy coming in that's going to be a project and all this rest of the nonsense. I want ready first team players. Like, if I was in his shoes, that's what I'd be doing. You want me back, grand, but I'm coming back, and these are my demands. These are my demands. I want to come back. I don't want to be remembered as the manager that didn't win the league for Celtic.
And it's even the thing about it, right? Martin O'Neill, it's even getting back to like your signings, right? Even getting the Chelsea guy in, he just scouting, he obviously knows players, but get Martin O'Neill involved in even the recruitment, whoever, I mean, but it's obviously a clusterfuck, do you know what I mean, with Tisdale out the door and stuff, the manager's out the door. So and all I want now is Celtic to concentrate and win the league, and then the summer, use the summer to reset it all, but get on there the now and win the league. So Martin O'Neill, see the thing about it, Martin O'Neill will sign players that will do him a job, but they're not going to be a kind of specific, fancy ass kind of player. See the next manager that comes in, they'll be able to, this player will be able to do a job for them. Do you get what I mean by that? It's not Martin O'Neill's not coming in saying, right, I'm looking for a centre back that can play on the underlap and take care for the full backs and the wing backs and get up with the striker. Do you know what I mean? Martin O'Neill will sign good all round players that can do a good job. So it's they'll be able to do a job for the next manager that comes in too.
Martin O'Neill will sign, if he's going to sign fellas, he'll sign. If he's looking for a defender, he'll sign a defender. His first priority is to defend. Same way as you've got to go to a midfielder. He looks specific things in a midfielder. If it's a middle midfielder, it'll probably be winning balls and can pass well. And if it's a striker, he can score goals. That's what O'Neill is your old style.
But didn't he do that? Like, didn't he do that with Ingles? He put a bit of fight back into Ingles. You see Ingles.
He put a bit of belief in the guy, Paul. He put a bit of
always there again, falling on the floor and looking for frees. Do you know what I mean? You know, that's,
Yeah, but Paul, look at the players through the years that only always the famous one is Bobby Pettit.
yeah.
Bobby Pettit was very poor before O'Neill came in. O'Neill put his arm around Bobby Pettit and obviously whatever he said to him, basically telling him, listen, you're a good player. Show me you're a good player. You show. And Bobby Pettit was sensational for Celtic for a season or two when he was under O'Neill. He has that ability to be an excellent manager. And like you said, that's what he done with the likes of Engels. That's what he done for the 7 or 8 games he was in charge
and
with.
I believe he's the credit to Young as well. I said, you know.
Yeah, but Paul, we were saying this as well there, myself and Mark, we were chatting. If Martin O'Neill is in a room, walks into a room, people listen.
Exactly.
People take note. This is Martin O'Neill. This is a Celtic. The word is used too much, but this guy is a Celtic legend. He's an iconic Celtic figure.
He's a Celtic legend, terms, a football legend. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, he's a football legend. Yeah, but he's won European Cups. He's won the whole.
And a manager. He's got that. He's got that aura.
Yeah, he speaks. You listen. He tells you you're not doing. He tells you you're not running fast enough. You're not running fast enough. He says you're not tracking back quick enough. You're not tracking back quick enough. That's it. There's no, well, I am. Well, no, you're not. I'm the boss. You're not tracking back too quick enough. You're not tackling hard enough. You need to be better finishing. You need to be better crossing. People will listen.
You sound like Wilfred Nancy there now, Terence.
No, I don't. But if that's the way O'Neill comes across, if he speaks, people will listen. Huh?
I agree totally with you.
You know, that's what I say. And that's what they need. They need a guy that when he walks in, there's a presence in the room, and O'Neill has that.
Mm-hmm.
See, I said that with Nancy, and that's right. I mean, any manager, and people talk, even hear players talk about it once they're retired, and it's just like, if I'm just saying, like, if a manager walks in, right, it's like if Ange walks in to Celtic dressing room, obviously was confident himself, but the players had done what the fans done and looked into him and saw what it was all about, and he stamped his own authority there and then. Do you know what I mean? Because he'd done this as a manager and everybody had looked into it and saw it. Right, Brendan Rodgers came up here with his public reputation as an elite level coach and flaggered up Celtic way, and Scotland went crazy. Do you know what I mean? Which you can see again, Terence, and that's what I get what you're saying. Managers have got to have that kind of aura. It's like Jose Mourinho walks into any changing room in the world and says anything, and the full place has got to sit and listen to him.
Yeah.
Celtic brought in this guy, Nancy, just for name, do you know what I mean? For a wee like coaching in the soccer and MLS kind of job to into that kind of atmosphere. And
do you think, right?
The players must have been like, "Who's this guy? Who is it?"
This is right?
Never even heard him that I spoke to, and that was the weird thing for me.
This is only my thinking here now, right? Do you think, right? Celtic being Celtic, right, wanted to do things the fans were bring in this football operations for our things. They gave him the thing to go do it that way, all right? It didn't work. They used Tisdale as the fall guy. We're going back to our old way. We'll appoint manager ourselves, and we know we're doing a good job, not the football operations way. That Tisdale was always going to be the fall guy, not the board.
Oof. I think JFP's hacked Paul using AI. That was a JFP shot across the board. Excuse the pun.
But that's what you can see. That David Desmond comes back to save the day again, kind of a thing, Mark, isn't it?
But he hasn't, Paul. He hasn't. I get what you're saying, but he hasn't, because people will say, but ye appointed these people. Ye appointed Tisdale. Ye appointed Wilfred Nancy. Like, at the end of the day, if Paul Tisdale identified Nancy, fine.
Desmond would give the go-ahead for it, exactly.
Yeah, but Desmond, the board of management, and Desmond and the chief executives and all these people, they sign off on it. They agree to it. They speak to Nancy. They talk to this guy. Yeah, they can say what they want, but at the end of the day, they're every bit as culpable as Tisdale or Nancy or any of the rest of them. They went from appointing a manager who i.e. was an elite manager, whatever you want to call it, when Rodgers left, to appointing an unknown manager, a guy that no one had a notion of from the MLS.
At least the man from Shamrock Rovers had more experience than him, tends to have a black.
He did, but you're right, Paul. But while you're saying fair enough to Tisdale, but Tisdale has never performed at any level in regards to Celtic. He has got he has never brought in any one of quality. He has been there a good period of time. And at the end of the day, if he's appointed by the board, whether that be Dermot Desmond or Peter Lawwell or Michael Nicholson or whoever it may be, they're culpable as well. This is
the rumours. Sorry, Terence. Mark, do you remember the rumours came out there when Rodgers got sacked, and the rumours came out that Rodgers was rejecting players, supposedly that Tisdale was recommending. No wonder he probably fucking was.
Aye.
Recommended players, Mark, for fucking the likes of Esther Sissy and Shrewsbury fucking Down. Do you know what I mean?
Tisdale. It was him himself that kind of christened himself the Doctor of Football.
Well, he rebranded himself because he failed as a manager. Yeah.
We daft pork pie hat and that. And see when you look honestly, you're right away. You're like, this guy's an absolute wanker, man. But fair, you can be a wanker, but you can be still good at your job, right? But again, you look into the background of this stuff, and it's all a bit of a punt for Celtic across the board, really, isn't it?
It's a massive punt, Mark. It's a massive punt. It's basically like getting, I don't know, I don't know what it is. It's just putting in your hand in and seeing what prize you get out of it. Pull it into a bucket and put your hand out. Yeah. Like the guy, none of those two individuals, Tisdale or Nancy, are qualified enough to be in the positions they were in.
Yeah, but
this is nothing to do with.
I'll tell you, you're going about all this data. Hold on, Paul. See this all this data-driven pattern, all this nonsense and that, right? That Tisdale was so much supposedly a master and stuff like that, right? And all it is, even down to the hearts of all this data analytics stuff and all that. There's no big thing about this, right? And we need to get back to actual guys going and looking at players, watching them play games rather than just actually looking up the data and stats. Do you know what I mean? And right, see that wee Mikey Moore that's at the Huns? I seen him as a manager years ago, right? And I won about 7 in a row and about 4 European Cups with him. So it's no any great thing to go and find these players through data. Do you know what I mean? I've said this on the podcast before, right? Football manager, there's guys getting paid plenty of money to go and do all this, so there's no big formula. Do you know what I mean? If Hearts and that Tony Bloom had found a great big formula, why did Real Madrid not just say, right, we're going to take that and just fling another 50 million at it more than him? It's a lot of nonsense, that kind of stuff.
But what it is, Mark,
I know it's part of the modern game, but for me, you've got to have somebody out there in the field looking at players and talking to them, rather than YouTube highlights and what any computer program or website tells you about them.
Well, it's what it is, though. Well, Mark, and you're bang on. But what it is as well is, it's just the way. It's nearly like the way that you have to play out from the back. You have to play out from the back. So so you have to get these players on data analytical stuff. Well,
didn't Martin Neal scrap that, didn't he? When Martin Neal came in there after 8 games, he scrapped all that, didn't he?
But Paul, a computer doesn't tell you that. Okay, what's this guy like when the team's struggling? Is this guy a battler? Is this guy a fighter? Is this or does he down tools? Is this guy a team player? You know, it's all well and good saying this guy has his stats are excellent, but he might be a complete bellend. Like,
I'm said that about a few players that when he rang them, he felt that they didn't want to be at Celtic, that they didn't have the attitude that he wanted, and that's why he didn't go for a lot of players. It's grand signing the player, but from the data, but you don't know what that player's like. You know
that's exactly my point, Paul.
Yeah,
that's exactly my point. You know, like Neil Lennon would have been one of the best signings O'Neill ever had. Do you know? Because he knew him, he tried and trusted. He even said on one of those, I think it was the overlap thing, he said he wouldn't be in the position he's in now if he hadn't signed Neil Lennon in the times he signed him for Leicester and for Celtic. But he signed Neil Lennon because he knew Neil Lennon was a decent player, but he knew his character. He knew his drive. He knew his determination. He knew what he brought to a team. These are all aspects that data analytics can show you. They can't show you that he's gonna burst a gut for the team. He's gonna have that little bit of bitterness that you need, that little bit of bite. Yeah, he's good with the ball. He's good in possession. He's a decent passer. He's a high percentage passer. Yeah, that's great. But what's his attitude like when they're playing above in Motherwell on as I said, like the famous one to David Ginola one? What's he going to be like on a wet Tuesday night above in Fir Park or something like that? Like that, Neil Lennon, you know what he's going to give you. He's going to give you 100% all the time. Is he the best player you've ever seen? 100% he's not. But is he one of the most driven players you've ever seen in a Celtic jersey? Yeah, he is. I like a Scott Brown. You wouldn't say Scott Brown was the most skillful, most talented player you've ever seen in around. But did he do a good job? He did a great job. Was he a leader? 100%. Was he a guy that if you were in the trenches and you needed to turn left and right and you wanted a guy to fight with you, if you had him beside you, you're happy out. That's what you want.
If you shut your eyes, it's just like listening to Roy Keane on it. But to another side of the spectrum, or whatever you call it, there's Matt O'Reilly.
Yeah.
I mean, that was absolute stat-driven. Clubs, all the scouting software and that, Matt O'Reilly's stats were top of the bone. And you had teams like Liverpool, I think Liverpool and Spurs and that had over, like, flagged him up as a potential signing. Who was the wee Australian? McGree, and that's who Ange wanted to sign, and it didn't happen. He ended up getting O'Reilly. But I mean, if you go back and you look back at that, Ange and O'Reilly, they didn't have much a relationship.
No,
I don't think. I think if Ange had stayed at Celtic,
he would have been gone. O'Reilly would have been gone, definitely. He wasn't getting a game.
And he spoke out. It was a bit. But you're talking about terms, his man managing. I don't think Ange's man management was the kind of best.
No, his job was like, I'm looking after the team. Like,
he was. Do you know what I mean? I think that kind of got to O'Reilly. He never sat in it with the players and things like that. That's a bit.
Ange back. A lot of Celtic fans are kind of saying they would and stuff like that. But no. I think we need to move on from past managers and past players.
Obviously it's Martin O'Neill to the end of the season now, but I'd have took Ange to the end of the season, but beyond that, no.
And I'm sure Martin O'Neill has said that, Mark. I'm sure Martin O'Neill has said to them, listen, I'll help you out. I'll do it to the end of the season, but even O'Neill is in the door, and the team with O'Neill is in the door. Tomorrow morning, the first and only, apart from when the transfer window finishes, the first and only job that the board of management should be doing is identifying a manager, so that the minute O'Neill finishes in May, hopefully with the title, that manager is in the door the following day. Not this nonsense of waiting until the end of the season and then looking for the manager.
I can see Desmond going for McKenna. The reason McKenna won't leave Ipswich at the moment is if McKenna gets Ipswich to the Premier League, he gets a very, very, very hefty bonus if he gets Ipswich to the Premier League. And that's mostly one of the reasons he won't leave Ipswich at the moment.
You can't blame him for that, Paul. But see, once he takes Ipswich up there, he knows he's fighting relegation for day one. And he's already done. Do you know what I mean? He's been there and done that.
But his stock goes through the roof.
His family are Celtic fans. He's a Celtic fan.
That's who I would go for. No, I would go for that. And even down to, right, and I've spoke to some of the English heads about this and that as well, right? See, for me, it's McKenna's at the stage, right? Because he'll not come to Celtic, he'd knock back Chelsea. Who would want the Chelsea job? Mm-hmm. That's what that's a poison chalice, that Chelsea job. You'll go there, or you'll make multi-millions when you pay you off, but they're not going to bother. It's the same Tottenham, another poison chalice job. So McKenna, like that, who was that? Graham Potter went to Chelsea, and now his career dive bombed. He's managing Sweden. Do you know what I mean? He was meant to be the next big thing. Graham Potter, Chelsea killed. So McKenna's building a career. He's only a young man. Come up to Scotland, show that you can manage a big, massive club. You'll get experience playing in Europe, winning trophies, and prove your worth, and you'll get a job at the next level up. Do you know what I mean? In England or somewhere else.
100%.
Even some of the English heads agree. He says it'd be a perfect stepping stone. He says because he's maybe not ready to take the step up to a big, massive club. They know, like the English, the pub league way you massive, but a few years at Celtic would prepare him for that, and it kind of makes sense. It would be. I mean, it would be the ideal situation for me.
Really, he'd have the best of both worlds. He'd have the potential of winning trophies, and as you said, Mark, he'd also have the
Europe.
Europe. So all of a sudden, if he is going to a bigger club, and if he went to Celtic, he was at Celtic for 2 or 3 years, and then went down and got a bigger job or to one of the top teams in Europe or top teams in the Premier League, all of a sudden he now has that tick in the box. Yeah, I have European experience. Mm-hmm. I've played Europa League or Champions League, or I've managed in Europa League or Champions League with Celtic for 2 seasons or 3 seasons, whatever it is. So that box is ticked. I've won trophies. I won 2 leagues with Celtic and I won cups, blah, blah, blah. That box is ticked. So all of a sudden your credentials, as you said, massively go up. Whereas if he's going from Ipswich, even if they get promoted to the Premier League and he's going to spend the next 12 months, whatever it is, struggling to stay there, big time struggling to stay there, all of a sudden, you get relegated and you're back down, and you'll always be like, oh, he was a championship manager, he managed in the Premier League for a season, all right. Does he have European?
That'd be second pop terms, so that's what I mean. That'd be him promote it, relegate it, promote it again, and relegate it again. So even if he did get them promoted this season, come next season, would Ipswich stick them? Would they sack him after 8 games?
Probably would.
You know what I mean? That cutthroat Premier League fucking nastiness that any manager. I mean, really doing it there. I mean, fair dues, Nancy, it was an absolute disaster, right? But I mean, even in Scotland, it were not as bad as that. And you look about Europe, but doing in England, any manager in that league, really, they're like half a dozen games away for the sack.
If that.
Aye. I mean,
of course. You look at Andrew at Nottingham Forest, he was gone after fucking 10 games or something, was it not even?
8 games, I think 39 days, something like that.
He lasted more than Nancy anyway, so fair juice to him.
That wouldn't be hard.
Is that more than Nancy?
33 Nancy wasn't he?
Was it had to hang earlier on. Mark O'Neill was 37.
37 Mark O'Neill was, yeah.
Robbie Keane.
I don't think Keane is right. There's 3 Irish managers, right, that I think if David Desmond wants to go down the Celtic man thing, right, okay, it's McKenna, it's Robbie Keane, and there's a manager that Terence will know because he's a GA man.
Billy Barry.
Barry Murphy. Barry
Cardiff.
Yeah. And
I saw somebody mention him earlier.
Yeah, but the reason back listen to the link, all right? There was a function here over Christmas. Roy Keane was there, all right? Brian Barry Murphy was there, and Ross Desmond was there with his wife.
Whoa.
And after that, then, this story about Brian Barry Murphy came out. So that's why I'm saying Brian Barry Murphy came out of nowhere.
I didn't know where that was going to go with you, Paul. Three guys and he's with one wife there. I was a bit worried.
They're fucking lucky, Nacho wasn't there. That's what they are. Huh? But that's how that story came out. That link, that's the link there between the 3 of them. There was a function here over Christmas, and supposedly Ross Desmond was there, Roy Keane was there, Brian. It was for a local GA club. But don't ask me why Ross Desmond was supposed to be there. But he was supposed to have been there with Roy Keane, and there's 2, and that's how the link then came out with Brian. And furthermore of that, Celtic were actually looking at him to bring in the youth academy when he was at Manchester City in charge of their youth academy. Celtic were looking at him.
Oh, what I would say as well, though, Paul, and I know what you're talking about. I think Celtic they'll surely have to be aware that whoever they do appoint as the next manager, they cannot make a monumental balls of it like they did with this one, would be the first point. And secondly, they need to, and I'm speaking obviously as an Irish bloke here, but they need to get away from this mantra that just because some guy is Irish, they need to be linked to the Celtic job. The Robbie Keane,
I think
McKenna's slightly different because
I think Desmond's going to make a statement here with the next manager. I really do, after the shambles.
But see, that turns, and I've said this before, right in there. I mean, that Nepo baby stuff, I was a laugh about it before when Ross Dermot. But see, like the nepotism stuff turns, I don't mind using it if it works.
No, what I'm saying, Mark, is I don't care if the next manager is Irish, but he has to be qualified enough to do it.
Aye. I mean, would you have ever get Martin O'Neill's manager if he wasn't Northern Irish,
or Rodgers?
That's what I mean. It does nepotism that way. You know this. It doesn't bother me. See if the only reason it'll come is because of Irish and born Celtic supporters and trying to even still uses a bit of a stepping stone. That doesn't bother me. See if it's the best man for the job.
Yeah, that's what I'd be saying to Mark. It's not whether they're Irish wherever they come from, but I'm just saying, I just don't want it to be a case that Robbie Keane is linked with it because, he's Irish, Dermot Desmond knows and blah blah blah. You need to employ the best man for the job, not a guy because he's he's Irish or he's used to play with Celtic or Dermot Desmond knows him really well. If it's an Irish guy who's the best guy for the job, like a Martin O'Neill at the time, like Rodgers, if it is McKenna, if it is Robbie Keane, we might know it's not everyone's cup of tea, whoever it may be, then that's fine. But they have to make sure that you're not appointing a guy just because of where he comes from.
Aye.
Definitely not on fucking Frank.
It can be positive, but it can be positive.
Oh, it can be positive as well, but I'm saying if like that the way they done that ridiculous point. But if say for argument's sake it was the Bodo Glint Nuxon guy and then the guy that was sacked from Bruges, that Hayden or Hayden, whatever his name is, just suppose the two of them were in it and Robbie Keane and they go for Robbie Keane, hypothetical obviously, people would automatically go, he only went for them because he's Irish. What I'm trying to say is, if it was McKenna and those two, and they go for McKenna, you can go, oh yeah, that's fair enough.
I don't think Robbie Keane is, and the fellow I was saying, Brian Murphy, are experienced now for us. McKenna's a different story because he's actually been in the Premier League and no offence to Scottish League, but the Championship I think is a bit bigger than the SPL. Yeah.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying, Paul. Once it's the most qualified guy that they have to get to take the job. If they happen to be Irish, great. But once they're the most qualified guy to get the post, that's my biggest thing on it. Just don't sign it. Just don't give it to Robbie Keane just because it's Robbie Keane is what I'm saying.
Going by the comments there, Bobby be saying hit the fucking like button if we point the Maresca. Huh?
Aye, but that's the thing. But you know what I mean? If the best candidate happens to be a Celtic supporter, blah blah blah,
all the better.
It helps. That helps you attract, because we are Celtic. There is people out there that are Celtic supporters that grew up as Celtic supporters, and I feared, and I think I look at it. I know even. I mean, this maybe sounds a bit obtuse for what we're talking about, but we kind of seem to have dropped the ball with the scouting in Northern Ireland to the extent. All these young, cracking Irish players are popping up in the English league, and do you know what I mean? And we've missed them it. So never mind managers get out there looking for players. Do you know what I mean?
But there's no pat to Mark. There's no pat.
You have English teams now coming off down and scouting players, bringing them to their academies.
I know, but Paul, the difference is over there is you look at the English. They have reserved leagues and stuff like that. You can't ask a guy to come over and sign for Celtic, and then on the next Saturday he's playing against a butcher, a baker, and a candlestick maker on some Saturday morning, and then you're expecting him. Then you're expecting him to get up to speed and be able to good enough to go from a game against Cowden beat F team against Celtic U team, and then all of a sudden expect him to come in and play a Champions League game for Celtic if they qualify, or a European game for Celtic. There's no pathway for those young guys. So like, if you're in those positions, why would you go to Celtic? There's no character. There's not like a reserve league that you can be seen. Like, you can't tell me that Rodgers or Wilfred Nancy Rendies went to watch those reserve, not even, what if it's a reserve team or under 20 team, whatever it's called. You can't tell me that they went to watch those games against.
Rodgers probably did. Give me two. Rodgers went about and watched youth games and that.
Yeah, well, but what I'm saying, they're not playing against good enough opposition. There needs to be a normal. I've said this loads of times here. There needs to be a normal Scottish league. Whatever teams are in the Premier League, there's a reserve league. There's a reserved league with the exact same teams. And at least
what I said over the last couple of weeks, the last time I was on, and I don't think it ever happened. Like, but fucking shove the Celtic B team over here into the fucking Irish League.
Oh yeah, you're right, Paul. You said that. I remember the last time, and that would have been a great call, because they'd be playing against a lot of guys who were, even in Ireland, who are fully professional, but they're playing against, not normal, men basically. And as I said before, if you have a Celtic player that's injured, if Hatat is injured or Liam Scales is injured, and they have to come back and they're playing a reserve game, how much would a young guy learn if Hatat is beside him, or McGregor's beside him, or Liam Scales is beside him, or someone who's been around the block, who's plenty of caps and plenty of experience playing at first team football and European football. And all of a sudden you're there beside you, and you're looking at the way he prepares for a game, the way he performs in the game, and all these things. Like, and it's a better route for a first team player also to come back into the first team, because they're getting match practice. It's all well and good running around training and doing one thing or another, but you're getting match practice.
Clearly grown up, that a player that would come back from injury, he'd play 2 or 3 games down the reserve league just to get match fit. Like, you know what I mean?
It should be a rule in the top league in Scotland that every club, as part of their membership, needs to have a proper reserve team in place.
And sorry, Mark, sorry.
I'm just saying it should be part of the rules and membership of being in the top league in Scotland, that you've got a proper reserve league team in place to play in a properly organised SPFL league.
Yeah.
With the old rules, the same old rules that we had, that was all young players and players needing fitness and blah, 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 but it should be a properly organised. And until that happens...
You know what, Mark? The thing is about that then, right? You would have the Celtic supporter who can't afford to bring his child to watch the Celtic first team, that would go to these matches. Bring their child to these matches, let them see these,
But Paul, even that aside, and you're right, this is probably a perfect one for Paul to let fly. But like, you can't say it can't be done. They have a ladies' league.
Aye.
They have the ladies' league that's on every single week.
I'm not interested in that anymore since the one just into that.
Oh, I know, but my point is, they can't say it's not affordable. They can't say it's not affordable. They can't do it. But you can't say you can't do that, but you can do this. Of course you can do it. If you can do it, if they have a women's league, whatever teams are in it, they should be able to have and facilitate a reserve league. It's as simple as that.
I mean, I don't know how different to put it without the fucking obvious innuendo, but I mean, the women's football be getting rammed down my throat.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean? Not just for Celtic, just across the board, right? It's not my cup of tea. See, if you want to watch women's football, go and watch it, right? It's not my cup of tea. But
anyone who watches women's football, Mark, is a fucking perv. A dirty, filthy old man.
I was saying, no,
dirty old man. Ask his daughter, does she want to go down and watch the women's football? The daughter's going, I don't really like football, Dad. Yeah, we'll go down anyway. We'll go down anyway. You dirty, filthy, the knob is all he is. Dirty bastard. I tell you, that's what it is, like dirty old men going down there having a fucking pub and a knob. That's what they are.
So did you go to a lot of games, Paul?
Few. Since it got cold, I kind of stopped. You can't get a boner in the cold, so I had to stop.
Since they put that ankle bracelet back on you.
Man, down next to him with a big fucking chubby on top of him.
If you get tagged.
Yeah.
No, but I mean,
you are sitting down watching. There's an old fella next to him with a big chubby on top of him going, she's good, isn't she?
Paul, you know Jack's sitting listening to you here, bud.
God, Jack's well used to be at this stage, right? That's what she is.
But
she was probably when
the money. I mean, I don't know how much money gets like Celtic pay for women's football and that, right? I don't really care. We're minted, we should be able to pay for it, but the priority should be on the youth system.
Exactly.
Of course it should be. But it has to be the youth system, like when you hear everyone talking about, say Bruges had these 3 18-year-olds or 19-year-olds playing in the Europe or the Champions League game there. How come we can't do that? They sold this guy for 20 million and that guy for 20 million. The reason they can't do it is because there's no pathway into it. There's no pathway there's no pathway to go into the first team. You can't. That's why at least to a reserve league, you have the potential, one, to attract players, two, they're playing in a proper league every week, matches every week against players of their own levels, of their own standards, that are professional footballers as well. And three, there is a pathway into the league. If a fella all of a sudden is a bit of a standout and he's doing well, he'll get a chance. And there's the step up clearly from playing the reserve football in the Scottish Premier League to playing the Scottish Premier first team is a much smaller step than what's currently there at the minute. At the minute, it's a chasm. Imagine to do something that's not possible.
Imagine the boy we had there from Man City, right? That Simpson Pussy guy, right? Imagine with him playing a reserve game and Dave Majowski getting a wee bit of Mark sharpness in a reserve game. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And Simpson Pussy marked him out the game. He's catching the eye. And do you know what I mean? Somebody's seen here, whoever the manager is, whether it's Nancy, Rogers, Martin O'Neill, whoever, here, we had some game against that Majowski against him the other night and that, we'll have a look at him in that, maybe, and then do you get what I mean? Maybe no Simpson Pussy, but maybe we're in wee young centre-back or whatever. And that's the way, but the now they're playing, as I keep saying, they're playing against part-time players and just falling away. And any glimmer, any sparkle, talent, and they're just getting wooed away with. And it's not even really better teams when we lose like Rocco Vata with Watford. I don't know how Rocco. I don't know how he's doing now or that. But I mean, that things like that. You're like, how did? Without getting into all the other things, their feet turned with money. But what else have they got today? Well, I sit here at Celtic on £600 a week and no get a chance to kick a ball. We'll go and get a game for Watford reserves for £5,000 a week. Mm-hmm. What is the difference? Playing in like they've got the Pub League and the Championship have got proper reserve leagues. I'm sure they're a Premier League 2 or whatever it is, something like that called. And that's the kind of thing. And we've got nothing. Absolutely nothing. It's an actual embarrassment that a country like Scotland that should be relying on producing our own players. And the system today is just one of the worst. But
isn't that one of the reasons Brian McClare left the Scottish FA, Mark? When he came in that time, he wanted to bring a reserve league back and stuff like that.
McClare wanted to make a hell of a lot of changes and just give.
And they would do, and then he just left. He just said, no, not doing this. He wanted to bring back all this kind of youth academy stuff like that, bring it back into Scotland. And
because obviously, Paul, Brian McClare would have played in reserve leagues. He would have come back, or he would have started there. He probably would have played numerous games there. He would have came back from injury, played reserve games. And like he knows the importance of having that.
Guy ran the Man United academy for donkey's years. Do you know what I mean? He knew that he should.
What the funny thing about it, Mark? The funny thing about it, Mark, is not only would it obviously benefit the likes of Celtic or whoever, but it surely would benefit, which makes it even stranger, surely would benefit the Scottish team down the line if there's Scottish players coming through. Do you know, I mean, surely, like, that's the thing when the Scottish FA were saying no to it. Surely, like, there's going to come a time where, you know, they might struggle, do you know what I mean, for players. But surely, like, if there's young Scottish players coming through, whether it was Celtic or Rangers or Aberdeen or Dundee or whatever, and they eventually got to go elsewhere for their football, surely if they have a reserve league, it's gonna strengthen their cause to come through into their first team, and if they're a good enough player, into the Scottish national team down the line, like.
But Terence, that honestly, that's just too far common sense.
Oh, I know that, yeah.
I mean, I've no other. I can't think of any other like SFA, any other FA in the world that does so much to damage their own actual product. Whether it comes to the TV negotiations where we get no Vaseline year after year, whether it's down to the youth programmes, and I mean, you can go back to times, I mean, Bertie Vokes and all that, and all these guys, that the Dutch boy they brought in to be resetting Scottish football. What was his name? Bert something or Bertie something? I can't even mind. There's that many of them. All these kinds of snake oil salesmen, and do you know what I mean? Try to sell you a fucking monorail like the Simpsons.
Like Tisdale with fucking Celtic.
Basically, yes, if we fell for guys like that for years, instead of listening to. I mean, we spoke about it before, even down to the kind of promotion of the game. I mean, was it the Hearn guy, the snooker guy, mind Paul?
Yeah.
He kind of we kind of say about Scottish football and stuff like that, but we should be getting people like that involved. See, people that know how to market stuff proper.
So look what he's done in the darts, the Premier League darts.
Barry Hearn.
Barry Hearn. Yeah, he done the snooker, and he's done all the darts, and sure he's done the Premier League darts now, and all of that's through the roof. Like, you look at the stadiums they have there, and they're jam packed. Like, and you know, he's made it an entertainment business. You know what I mean?
I don't. For what we get off of Sky, you can't tell me even like the likes of Amazon or Netflix or something couldn't they fling a few more million quid at us now? Do you know what I mean?
Jesus Christ, but I watched the Jake Paul and Joshua fight there on Netflix. I just said I watched it because it was that. You know, I normally wouldn't watch Jake Paul, but I watched it. But my God, the commentary on Netflix just made a balls of that. Like Netflix, Amazon, that stick to the films. Do you know what I mean?
I'm just talking about like a the pay-per-view kind of thing, Paul. Do you know what I mean? I mean, you look at even like what Celtic TV put on, right? It's maybe not great, right? I was saddened to see wee Tam Boyd sitting all alone in the stand the other day, no on duty, right? But when you look at what the fans can do, even
is he gone from the Celtic?
But TV? Netflix, Amazon, anything just to get away from Sky, something to get more money that are actually trying to help the game in Scotland.
To be honest, it's much better. It was much better when it was on. Is it Premier Sports or BT or whatever the right terminology is? Maybe Premier Sports. It was much better when it was on that. At least there was a proper build-up. It was. I thought the commentators were much better. I know the cups are on. I think it's a Premier Sport. It's much more enjoyable watching it on that than it is on Sky. And at least even after the game, they give a proper analysis. Whereas a lot of times in Sky, they'll just literally the game's over and they'll be like, "Sorry, we got to go in now. There's a top of the table clash here between Luton and Sunderland or something like that." And you're like, "Oh, fantastic!" And you just cut it off like.
If you're watching the main event, you have to skip over to Sky Sports Football now to watch.
That annoys me. That kind of thing. But that just shows you the disdain. Do you know what I mean? The money. They just how much you got to give? All right, we'll give you 4 million quid. Oh, that's great. Thanks very much. You're brilliant. No battle, no novel. Wait, look into producing your own kind of stuff. And that, again, get away from the kind of parochialism of the MV us with Celtic Rangers and get together to produce like some kind of SPFL channel that people can just pay for themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Something like that.
They want to get that fucking Egypt McCullough fucking off it, anyway. That's what they would do.
Just honestly, Celtic TV should just be 24/7. You just Tom Boyd just sitting there talking to people. I'd phone
Steve That's Simon Donnelly's the most boringest cunt fucking. Jesus Christ.
Aidan McGeady was a tough watch the other day.
Was he?
Aidan McGeady was on it before the Derby game the other day, man. He was a bit of a tough watch.
Is he some
He looked older than me.
kind of football operations now for some team? He did some director for some football team, is he?
I don't know what he does now.
Or is he some scout mark or agent or so? He's involved in football. I can't think what he does. An advisor or something like that or so. He probably works for fucking Tisdale, I said. Jesus Christ. The McGeady data system, that's what he'd be calling it. You know? The football, anyone who calls himself a football doctor and wears a hat like that just needs a slap. You know?
That was just embarrassing.
You know?
Building up a kind of myth about yourself. I'll tell you now, Tisdale, you'll never hear him again in football.
No.
Not a chance.
You know, Jesus. He'd become a tennis guru now. We'd be doing tennis fucking matches. That's leaving now, dirty knob. He'd be like fucking down the room.
He'll be, who was it? He done no modelling, but he's kind of close. He's plays. Was it Ted Baker? No.
Yeah, what did he do now? He's gone. What does he do now? That's all the clothes and the perfumes.
Aye. Was that no his pal that he done that's who kind of had a sponsorship with for getting all the clobber and that off it.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Aye, Ted Baker, I think.
Fucking gobshite. Fucking wouldn't wear fucking Ted Baker by if I was fucking paid. That's why I fucking wouldn't. Fucking chavs. That's all they are. Chavs. Chavs. I knew that word in years. A fucking chav. You know? A Barbary fucking scarf. Cop yourself on by. How old are you? You know?
Yeah. We don't call them chavs. We call them Neds.
Neds, is it? Yeah, you call them Neds. Yeah, Neds. Neds. The fellas in still game. The Neds.
Aye.
Yeah. Jesus Christ, boy. But the question is, right?
Get back to it. What?
Can we salvage this league?
Oh, I know. 100%.
No, we can. No, we can.
We'll win this league.
If it was another game or two with your man in charge, Paul, I don't think it would have been possible. I think it would have been too big a gulf. But it's 6 points.
9 points behind Terence. But I said that's what we could have.
It's 6 points, isn't it? 6 points behind. 6 points. 6 points is manageable. But if they had let P Diddy still manage for another 2 or 3 games, and obviously he'd have probably lost them all, and it had got to double digits, I think that would have been too much to ask, because there's 2 teams there, when in a sense there'd be 3 teams in it, but just to be 2 teams kind of thereabouts. But I think if they had given Hearts a 12 or 13 point lead, if that Yahoo was still in charge, I don't think that would have been manageable. 6 points is definitely manageable.
People who wear gilet jackets are only people who come home from Turkey that got a haircut and their teeth fucking polished.
I knew that was coming as soon as I put that up.
What did he say?
I mean, I said people who wear those jackets are coming home from Turkey and they're playing with a hair transplant or their teeth fucking polished from fucking Turkey. That's what they are, those jackets and their shorts and their Burberry t-shirts. Jesus Christ. And the socks, the white socks with the runners. Oh, Jesus Christ.
What's wrong with that?
You wear white socks with runners, like with shorts.
Of course I do.
Oh, for fuck's sake, Darren.
Listen, no offense, no. This is coming from a fella who's here the same length as any girl around, like.
Yeah, that's why he goes to the women's game, because I get away with it. I can get in. I get into dressing rooms.
You still got a steamer's haircut, big long hairstyle.
No, I trimmed it. Yeah, It's not as long as it used to be. No, it's not.
Trimmed it. You probably go to Peter Marks now or something like that to get your hair done.
Didn't I, Mark? Did I send you a picture recently?
Oh, I hope not.
Well, not that kind of picture, like, you know what I mean? Like, No, I caught it. It's not that long. It's long, like, but it's not that long. You know?
Is it down to your shoulders?
No.
No, it's further than that.
It couldn't be
Down to
longer.
the arse.
It's further than that.
Dreads. I have dreadlocks.
But that'd be you, all right. A white guy with dreadlocks.
We get a sunburnt for Huns.
Dreadlocks.
here.
Dirty,
We had
flowery.
the cornrows. That was a picture Paul sent me. He did hair like that. On
Oh,
Portland
love
the other
it.
week.
You did not, did you?
What picture?
You couldn't have walked around Cork like that. You'd have definitely got a slap for that.
No.
Stadium. You couldn't have had your hair like that.
Like what?
Dreadlock shite.
Yeah, I have dreadlocks and I wear flowery pants and a flowery t-shirt and I smoke weed and I go.
He probably had his
Lazy
hair
like
marked like Finlay Beelum. Look up Finlay Beelum there. When you're on your computer. This is probably what Paul looked like. Look him up there now. He's a rugby player for Ireland, but look him up.
Oh, I do. I know him. Yeah, didn't he injured now at the moment? Didn't he?
Huh?
Did he pick up a bad injury there recently? Didn't he, that fella? Did he?
He probably did against Leinster, all right, yeah. But listen. Any guy that wears their hair like that in general, let alone in a rugby match, deserves to be injured.
Yeah, the dreadlocks are filthy, man. That's what they're dirty.
No, his hair like plaited or something. It's shocking. So you probably had that as well, did you? The little braids or whatever.
No, I never had my hair plaited actually, but I never did. But let's get off the hairstyle now and get back onto fucking Celtic now.
I can't believe you just said that. I never had it plaited. You didn't even break. You didn't even break stride with that. Like, that's on YouTube now. I never had it plaited.
No, I didn't. That's one thing actually I didn't. But I never had it plaited. No,
I'd stop saying that if I were you.
No, people are well used to me now, Terence, at this stage, right? That's what they have.
Jesus, plaited. What a steamer.
I've never had my hair plaited. For the rebel country.
Yeah.
And Michael Collins is spinning in his grave.
Right,
I've never had my hair plaited.
If you walk down Patrick Street now with your hair plaited hair, it's a good chance what Terence said there. You're getting a fucking slap, Terence, aren't you? You are like.
Oh, I would expect it. I'd be disappointed if you didn't.
Yeah, exactly. Jesus Christ.
Right, anyway, that's nearly half 8. Right, so, Paul, who do you want from? Right, we've got Martin O'Neill to end of the season. We win the league.
McKenna, Mark. It has to be McKenna for me.
But we win under Martin O'Neill, we win the league.
I don't know, Mark. I mean, like, I know he gets results and the football's not pretty and he gets results and he does well and stuff like that. But I want a manager that can, like people are saying, I want him to play football, attractive football that we can win. And I think McKenna's. But then, Mark, like, who's to say McKenna's going to walk the Celtic the way Celtic operate? It's all going back to the Celtic board. The Celtic board can't be trusted bringing in players, and is McKenna going to achieve what he wants at Celtic if we're not going to let him have some control over something? I don't think so, Mark. That's my biggest problem. But
you, Terence.
I think if O'Neill, I think there's a really good chance now that he will win the league. But I think it's massively dependent on him being allowed to get in the right players in the transfer window. He's there now. Transfer window's just opened. I don't think they need a huge amount, Mark. I just think if they get two or three players for the positions they need, I think he could make it. It'll make a huge difference because we saw what he could do with this exact same squad when he came in after Rodgers and before he handed over to Puff Daddy. So he can definitely win the league, and I just think if he can get those two or three players that he probably wants and needs, i.e. the centre forward in particular, I do think he can win the league.
I mean. As the Celtic board got this kind of forward thinking, even if they've got somebody lined up for the summer, Martin O'Neill, with them getting an input on the transfer, do you know what I mean? Like, I'm coming in the summer.
I think the best thing we can do with I think the best thing we can do with Martin O'Neill is move him up. Move him up into some football department in the team, in the club.
I'd put him in the board, Paul.
Yeah, but
I'd put him
like, yeah.
Even not even up to a director of football or anything. I'd put Martin O'Neill like up to, I'd give him like one of the non-executive director roles on the board. See, one of the guys that supposedly keeps the board in check. Having somebody like Martin O'Neill that he's no cow-tone to anybody. Do you know what I mean? He's just going to have his say, and everything he's got. I mean, he's an older man now, and that. He's no going to do but no, that's not going to work. This is not enough for a football perspective. No, we can't do this, we can't do that. Have somebody like that on the board.
Yeah,
but you'd also feel, Mark, that someone like that on the board, like in the dressing room, people would listen to him. Dermot Desmond would listen to him. The powers to be above him.
Has Martin O'Neill not got a law degree?
He probably does.
He was studying for it. He used to go down to like the High Court in London and watch all the mad, like weird murder trials. Now I'm sure Martin O'Neill has actually got a law degree. He's not just a stupid old dodery manager or jumpers for goalposts kind of guy. Do you know what I mean?
But it would be something then that would hugely appease the support. They would see it as having one of their own there on the board.
I think Nicholson will go, because there's a rumour in that he handed in his resignation the same time as Peter Lorre, but Celtic refused it because you can't be without a chairman and a CEO at the same time in a business.
I would imagine, Paul, anyway, in Michael Nicholson's role, you can hand in your notice, but there has to be a period of grace that he has to give them. He can't just say, "I'm finished tomorrow." I'm sure there's in the contract he might say there has to be a 6 month or 3 month period that I've handed in my notice, I'm finishing in 6 months' time, and he has to serve out these 6 months. I'm sure it's not a case that like you'd have to do that in even most jobs. If it's a case you have to give 2 weeks notice. So imagine if you're chief executive of a job, barring you get the heave-ho, the shoulder. If you're leaving on your own terms, I'm sure you have to kind of give them
I'd have to give
a time. Like,
I'm with my company 19 years, so it's good going into 19 years in my job, same company.
Just goes to show how much of a bluffer you are, innit?
Fucking get away with it, yeah. Nancy should have taken fucking stuff out of my book. That's what he should have. You know, that's what he should have.
And the amount of haircut is fast.
No, we actually stopped doing it. Actually, I probably got complaints off people. I said that's what they're doing.
Yeah, walking up to fat.
Your neighbour.
Walking up to fat folk will see you want to slim fast.
Yeah, but you're going up to managers, like, and the managers are overweight, like, and then you're trying to sell them fucking slim fast. You know what I mean? What are you supposed to do? You know,
you should start doing the jag. Did
I hear something today, Mark? Actually, there popped up today that Peter Lowell is still on the board.
No, I'm not sure what that means. I've been trying to keep up with what they're talking about me in the forum, but. I'm not 100% sure. I think it's still. I think
shareholder still.
I think it's still something to do with like the Shell company. See the Pacific. I mean, that's if any Huns are listening, will love this. Is it not something to do with the Pacific Shelf company that Fergus started?
Yeah,
It's not been updated. To be honest, I don't know. But the guy can't come out and say he's leaving this because of threats and all this part of that, and then still be in it. Do you know what I mean?
I don't believe that shit at all, Mark. Because I said it to you, Mark. I say his plan was to retire at that AGM anyway. I said that to you. I was expecting, no, they're just using that as an excuse. No, boy, that's what they are. You know?
You saw the writing on the wall, Pat.
Aye. I mean, the rumours were offline about it was retiring. Do you know what I mean? And well, supposedly it was Wally Hockett was taking her. But so it was no big. I mean, there was no big shock when it came out that Lil was leaving. But the way, I mean, again, he just used it to attack the fans and blame the fans. But for the people that are kind of going to gauge it all up in the collective, they shouldn't be doing this, they shouldn't be doing that.
What will happen now?
According to Peter Lil, it worked. We forced him out.
Yeah. What you think now, Mark, would happen now? That collective, that there was supposedly supposed to be a boycott at the weekend's game. Do you think that's going to be postponed now that Martin Need is coming?
Well, I don't know, Paul. The last I sent you the stuff that was that the day or yesterday. There was a meeting for the steering group tonight. So we'll find out either later on the night or maybe tomorrow whatever's happening with it.
Mm-hmm. You know, because Martin O'Neill did kind of bring the fan group together. He brought the fans and the squad together anyway, not the board the fans, but he brought the squad, the first team squad, and the fans together. Like, do you know what I thought was fascinating, right? When Nancy was manager, that the Celtic fans were still singing Martin O'Neill. And that's embarrassing for any manager, isn't it?
Aye, definitely.
You know, that even the fans, not just the players, but the fans just didn't take to that person. Whatever it was, we just didn't take to it. You know?
What it was, Paul was losing 6 games out of 8. That will generally get the fans against you.
Even before that, even his first interview and stuff, I just never took him the first interview. You know?
But as I said, you're talking about an iconic Celtic figure in Martin O'Neill, who stepped in when Rodgers left, where it all happened, took the team over, a couple of points behind Hearts, got them back up, level with Hearts. Next game, one away in Europe, something that hadn't been done in a long, long time, and handed over to the baton to the new man. And he just basically threw the baton away.
Who came in on a Thursday, had one training session on a Friday, and changed the team selection to a back chill on the fucking Sunday. That says a lot for me, like, don't it? You know?
Sure, look.
He's gone now. It was just, as we said, it was just this kind of arrogance to this is my way.
Yeah, he was.
I mean, see if he came in and done what we kind of thought, maybe kind of tried to merge tactics and way into the team, and we'd lost a couple of games, but came out and explained that, look, I'm just trying to get everything together. Right? You'd have given him a bit of time, but it wasn't even if he came in, it was just, it was his fault. He was happy, he saw things nobody else could see.
What he was seeing, Mark, I don't know what he was seeing. I was seeing improvements. I'm looking like it was what you said when I go out there and say, what game are you watching? Like,
yeah. but it's even
James Farmer at the back.
Yeah, but it's even if when he came in and he decided he wanted to go this 3 at the back nonsense, blah blah blah, and he done it for a game or so, and it wasn't working. At least if you saw him change it and go, okay, look, it's not working. Players aren't suiting this. I can't get it right. I need to go back to 4 at the back. I need to change the formation. I need to do something. If you saw that, you might have gone, okay, look, at least he's seen this isn't working. He's trying to change it. He's gone to 4 at the back of the day. He's gone with 2 centre backs. He's gone with a normal back 4. He's tried to change it slightly, whatever. But he didn't. He just went with the same nonsense every single week, and then like that coming out saying, judge me, I haven't. And when you see him excuses, he said, I have no pre-season, I normally have 4 weeks pre-season, I normally this, we're doing a lot of good things. And you're like, no, you haven't. The only good thing you've actually done is left.
Yeah.
You know, exactly. So like, I mean, if he had tried to change what he was doing, and the thing is, it's not admitting defeat. It's just admitting that, okay, this isn't working. As a good manager, I need to adjust this. I need to fix this. I need to, there's no point trying to put square pegs in round holes. If it's not working, it's not working. But a good manager will adapt and will change. If he managed to adapt and change, and Celtic were still in the title, and he was still there, and they were winning games and one thing or another, and then come the end of the season, if he was still there, blah blah, he could then try and implement that over the summer. because he'd have his pre-season, he'd have his all thing if that's what he wanted to try and start again. But to have the notion to not have the ability or attitude, or I don't know what you'd call it, to not change it. Maybe it's arrogance, like you said. I don't know what it is, but like he basically he's fallen on his own sword because he's refused to change. He refused to change.
Like today for me, like is a big thing for the board. Like they're basically admitting today by getting rid of Tisdale, getting rid of Nancy and all these backs. It's a big thing. They're basically saying today they fucked up.
Oh, the experiment's finished.
Yeah,
and that's why.
And even if you look at that, throw Lowell in there as well. Do you know what I mean? Lowell, yeah, in the last, obviously it was a couple of weeks ago, but we obviously knew he was leaving. But the announcement of Lowell leaving, Tisdale's away, Nancy's away. This new boy for Chelsea's brought in, Lefebvre's away. There's been moved. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But in a lot of cases, Mark, those positions were now untenable. The board they've kind of had to admit that they've got this wrong and badly wrong. But to me, I think they'd have been even under more pressure if they didn't change. If they had said like that he's staying there, people would be saying like, "You got to be kidding me here! Like, just bite the bullet, admit you got it wrong." And I'm sure there was a number of people on the board, or whatever way it operates, that have probably said before now that this isn't the right guy. This guy isn't working.
It was basically what you said me there, Mark. It was the main kind of four people. What's that girl's name? Sharon what? What's her name?
Sharon Brown.
And there was a couple of them that said, "Look, no, he has to go." And it was kind of.
And as well, too, Paul, I imagine as well. Yes, the board have they've had their say in it, blah blah. But I have no doubt that Callum McGregor he's there so long. I'm sure he's gone to the powers to be and gone, lads, this guy is not working. The players aren't happy.
There's a reason why Callum McGregor hasn't come out and explained that the club has been so bad and we need to, because McGregor would always come out and face the media, and he hasn't faced the media once since Nancy came in.
But I also think if that Nancy fella had stayed, I think McGregor would have left.
Definitely, sure. There was rumours that Rodgers was going to come in from Monter. There was kind of rumours there, that Rodgers was kind of going to look at him Monter. There was.
Yeah, there was. But I do think that there's a lot of stuff behind the scenes. I imagine players have had their own get-togethers and their own chats and their own meetings, and basically got.
You could see there after the game when he went straight down the tunnel. And he's done that a lot of times this season.
Does McGregor know it for? He's a captain.
What's that, Mark? Sorry?
Why is McGregor not out front up? He's a captain.
That's what I'm saying, Mark. Will he not lie because will he not come out and speak the truth like that? The players aren't be fucking behind him. Do you know what I mean? I don't know. I really don't know. Do you know what I mean?
But is he been curtailed on that, Mark? Have the board, the powers to be, told him, listen, Callum, you cannot come out here in an interview and say this. You just can't, because the board know that they were under severe pressure anyway. And if the captain comes out, whereas if the captain's gone to Michael Nichols and whoever it may be, Mackay and Winston and whatever, and all these guys, and said, look, lads,
that's the point there, Mark. Isn't this
isn't working because there was even rumours that were going around that he basically went, look, it's either him or me. Now, I don't know how true that is. That could be tongue-in-cheek as well. But I'm sure he's gone as a spokesperson. And maybe with someone else and said...
That's true what you said there at the start of the podcast, that McGregor knocked at his door when he was first in the thing, and he says, I'll call him. That to me is... No matter what man you want, you go into club, you want just seeing your players to be around you.
Of course you do. But you want...
McGregor and James Forrest like that, not knowing who James Forrest is in the first place, that's a red flag for me. Like,
yes, you want allies, Paul. You don't want to alienate yourself. But by doing that to the club captain, you're automatically alienating yourself to the rest of the squad.
It's like he did that from day one.
Yeah, but he alienated himself from the squad because Conor McGregor is going to be one of the players that all the squad are going to look up to. He's there so long. He's the captain. He's won numerous trophies. He's the leader in the dressing room, one of the leaders in the dressing room. And if he's coming back, well, how'd you get onto the manager? He basically told me where to go and don't knock on his door and I'm this and I'm that. And Callum McGregor's coming back on, nice fella's this fella's a ABC. Then the players are all players are automatically going to go Callum McGregor.
I wonder what Alistair Johnson was saying.
I just have one important thing to say. What's his assistant's name? Apadu, is it?
Yeah, something like that.
That fucking gobshite who's saying he's an Irish international. He played 2 games under 19s. 2 games, and he called himself an Irish international. Fuck off. Not having that shit at all.
He played with Cork City, did he?
He didn't. He's shit. He wouldn't even get a game for Cork City.
He grew up in Dublin, did you know?
Yeah, something like that, yeah.
But yeah, he was born in England and moved to Dublin when he was young or something like that. His name's Patrick.
His name is piss off and fuck off out of our club and get back where he fucking came from. That's his name. Yeah.
Well, look, the main thing is, boys, he's gone. That's the main thing. New start. O'Neill.
I actually texted Mark. And I think it was about 2 o'clock, Mark, was it? It looks like Nancy's not getting the boot because if I did, I was thinking nothing's going to happen. And then you text me about 3 minutes past 8, Mark, or something, 5 past 3 or something, that he's gone. I was like, Jesus Christ. I tell you one thing, Dermot Des must go out on the piss on fucking Mondays because he's fucking sacked Rogers on Mondays. He's sacked Nancy on a Monday. He must be out on the piss on a Monday. On a Monday, I said. He Desmond, does he? All these decisions seem to be made on Mondays.
But listen, if that guy didn't go, as I said, after the latest, and
I honestly couldn't see us doing nice after the weekend, man. And you know what? And it's a sad thing to say. There was a risk we could have got beaten by that fucking team in the cup. What's that team we're playing? That lower league team.
Talbot or something like that, yeah.
Talbot.
It's a good chance that they.
Yeah, that wouldn't have surprised me when Nancy in charge. It really wouldn't have.
No, it wouldn't have. It wouldn't have either me.
You know what, bro? I feel lousy on them, and I know it's for security reasons because the pitch is so near, but they can't play the game on their own ground. You know, I feel lousy. You know, mate. It's a big occasion for that club. Like, you know what I mean? You know.
What's your point?
No, but they should be able to play in their ground, Terence. Like, you know, not in Kilmarnock.
I get that, but also the ground needs to be of a certain spec to allow the game to go ahead. Like,
but that's the whole point of.
But surely, if they move across the road, move to a stadium near them that's bigger than them, they're going to get more money.
You know, but their fans kind of raging over it, aren't they? I tell you. Rod Stewart, that did it, boy. I said that to you, Mark, when he came out with that statement there about a week ago. Was it Rod Stewart? When he said,
guy's a clown, man.
And I texted you
that video done the other day.
You know, Jesus Christ, by Rod Stewart. He's probably pissed as well. No one. Today, that's we probably was over in Vegas. You know?
Hey, we win that up.
Yeah, it's a good day, lads. It's a good day.
Great day.
You know, we need those a striker to be even fucking better.
Oh, we get a striker, don't worry.
I'm expecting 1 or 2 signings this week.
Definitely, Mark, yeah.
And hopefully Williams a striker. We've got to get a striker in.
I don't believe for 1 second, Mark, that Martin O'Neill would have taken this job on unless he had reassurances. And
I agree with that, Terence.
And I don't think for 1 second, because he knows that it's basically he's in the box seat. He can say, I'll take the job, but I want reassurances. I want whatever it is. If he says, if there's 2 or 3 players, he's probably already identified, I want these players. You give me these players, I'll do the job.
It's
You
like
don't
I
get me
can't-
these players, I won't do the job.
I can't get you the league if you don't give me these reinforcements, like, isn't it?
Yeah,
You know?
listen. They I'd be like Mark. I'd be absolutely stunned if a striker doesn't come in. Stunned, because they basically have one striker that's seriously injured. The other two,
What's going on with Bernardo? So sorry there before we go, because that's 3 managers now that Bernardo's kind of not got a look at. You have Martin Neal, Nancy, and Martin Neal kind of never gave him a look in either. You know,
It's a bit of a weird one with Bernardo, it really is.
because I liked him last season.
Aye.
He did well and stuff like that, but this season he's just not got. He's not got anything there. Like, he's not even got a look in. Like, you know what I mean? You know.
maybe he doesn't fit the mold.
For the weekend there, Bobby.
Like I said, we're definitely not getting 2 strikers anyway, Bobby. That's wishful thinking. I'd be happy if we get 1, to be honest. You know?
I think honestly, I think there'll be 1 striker signed this week, because
He might be supposed to have to pick up a bad injury, actually.
But by the end of the window, I'd expect at least another one to be added, because we're
Yeah.
down to bare bones with the striker department, so we might need.
Man's supposed to pick up a freaking bad injury, right? With Swansea, had either. A bad injury.
Oh, has he?
Yeah, it came out there today that he didn't say what the injury was, but they said it's a bad injury that he could be out for the rest of the season and the start of next season. You know?
It's a shame, but he doesn't play for Celtic anymore. So
Did he? Did Evan Ferguson say that? Yeah.
Aye. Evan Ferguson said, didn't he?
Jesus Christ. You know, that came from man with scales anyway, definitely.
oh, he did, yeah.
Probably Shin Yamada's translator probably said it to him. Jesus Christ, but I never saw a striker so bad. The misses that he misses, right? Jesus Christ, right? Shin Yamada.
Well, Kenny's up there now, Paul, in fairness. Unfortunately, but Kenny's up there.
That's what I was going to say. There's not any worse than Kenny, really. Let's be honest.
Yeah, Kenny's missed some shockers, Paul. Some absolute shockers.
Even my either.
Terence, I haven't been watching them because I just refused to watch Celtic when Nancy was in charge.
Yeah. Well, he should have put it like this, Paul. He should have had a hat-trick against Dundee United in the first half, some of the misses. And I mean, you're talking 5 and 6 yards out with no keeper in there, and he put it wide.
Jesus Christ, man.
Like, there were some terrible misses, like. But sure, it is what it is. I'm going to wrap this up. Back to work tomorrow.
Joe, I'd say. Talk to you, lads.
Right, thanks very much for coming on, Pablo, again. Right, Terence as well, thanks for coming on, bud.
No worries, man.
Everybody enjoying the live chat. I hope you enjoyed it. Everybody listens back. If you can, if you know how to leave a comment, and remember and hit the like button. I'm not even going to play Rangers or shite, because we were just shite, I know. So hail, good night and God bless.